listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, and good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, coming at you live and in personam. Yeah, that probably works better. Anyway, I'm just waiting for a word from Santo and or Michael McCracken to see if they want to jump in tonight. And other than that, we just carry on, you know. A few things I do want to get into a bit tonight. We touched on it last night, and it's something that I think is, for me, in my experience, it is of the utmost importance, and it is the utmost reason why most of us miss our yellow brick roads. And I think if I can even clarify that further, the more clear I can make it, the easier it is for others to grasp this very magical thing that just I find such a difficult time to find words for. So I will do my best. Worked on the Fifth Element Part 2 today. Didn't get it finished. Had a couple of other calls that came in and had an opportunity to share some time with others, and you know, which is great for me because regardless of what happens during the course of my now or my day, whatever way you want to put it, all things for a reason. So I simply have to observe why. I don't get caught up in dramas. I don't get caught up in the literals. I just have to be a very, very patient observer to see what I'm going to encounter that are the clues that are only pertinent to me. So let's try to simplify this into a codified manner that the left brain can assimilate and make sense of. When you're dealing inside this game, okay, this is the matrix. So let's clarify a couple of things. I think we've been very clear on what this reality is, and it is the effect. It is physical. It is the created, the past tense. This is the only place where we can play a physical game at this level. So I think it's safe to say, and I mean, you can challenge me on this, but as far as I know, it takes light time to travel from any point to any point, regardless of how small the points are between. There is still time in the linear sense, the illusional time, if you will. As an example, light from the tip of your nose, because anything you observe, you're seeing reflected light. Right? It has to bounce off something to see it, right? So from the tip of your nose to your eye is a very small distance, but it's still a distance nonetheless by the time you look at it and see the reflection of that light that is outlining what you would deem to be your nose in exactly the same way as if you were looking at a star that's, say, 1 million years away. It just took the light a little longer to get to you, that's all. So when the light takes time to travel, it's very, very easy and provable for any of the most lustful left brain ego analytical minds. That's an easy point to prove. Okay, so we got that. I like to actually disprove science with itself. Again, it has to be opposite and equal at the same time. So that's where I hang out. It's way more fun on the other side of this mirror than getting caught up in the drama, the matrix, the mother tricks here. Okay, so we got that one out of the way. So we can now safely say, well, I can safely say, as it's real to me, that everything here is past. You know, in the beginning, God created. Now, whatever the hell concept you have of God is irrelevant to me, okay? You can call it the mind of all. You can call it one. You can call it one consciousness. You can call it Barney Rubble for all I give a shit. It's the concept I'm after. And once we get the concept that there is life, vitality with consciousness, then you can pretty much go from there. And given the fact that every one of you are all individual points of that consciousness, the God mind itself, you're the only one that is real. Because I'll tell you what I can't prove. I can't prove you're real. The illusion shows me that you're real and you talk and everything else. and you have ideas, and you're very interesting, and all the rest of it. Much in the same way a movie on the silver screen is entertaining and seems very real. You ever catch yourself with Kleenex during a movie and getting all teary-eyed about a scene, or laughing your head off at another, will give you an idea of how much you're in the movie, right? So you're not any longer an observer. You are an active participant. If you get emotional in anything, you're an active participant, and you are allowing your experience to create an effect on you. So the game here for me is to turn that around, where I can observe effects, experience them, but not be at effect to them. I can make sense of it, feels right, looks right, and if I so choose, I can get into any emotion I wish. Because at the end of the day, you are fully responsible for any and all emotions. The only thing that will keep you going circular in emotions is how deeply you are in the movie. Ego, the program, it will run you ragged. Constantly run you ragged. So, all right. So now that we got that little bit out of the way, let's have a look at what it means to be in a literal world, which we're in, versus the spiritual causal, which is the unseen that you're in. I just want to make you more aware of that side of things. For those of you out there that are experiencing coincidence after coincidence and all of these magical little things showing up along your path, you're already experiencing the yellow brick road to a greater or lesser degree depending on your particular reality. I also understand that within me, the more I come to terms with these things, the more my consciousness without, as within, so without, becomes aware of these things as well. And we see evidence of that literally within minutes now, of ideas and thoughts going out, and seeing the evidence of the cause of those thoughts coming back in the form of, isn't that a coincidence? I was just talking about, purple people eaters, and then I checked my Facebook, and someone had actually typed out all the lyrics for that. It's a coincidence, yeah, that's the myriad of. I don't experience coincidence anymore. What I do experience is the observation of what I was missing. And the more coincidences, and I put that in quotes, the more coincidences you experience, the more you are in the now, observing the game from a now viewpoint. Same thing with things like deja vu and what have you. The deja vus and I keep seeing 11:11 or 3:33 or whatever on the clock. That's just your way of affirming that you are absolutely right, that you are absolutely correct. And are you going to start paying attention anytime soon, right? So, that being said, where do I want to go from here? Okay, imagine yourself sitting in a movie house, cinema, whatever the hell you want to call it, and you're observing the movie. Now imagine being in the now during that entire movie, which means you will not get emotionally involved, you will not even get analytically involved, because you are in the now observing the things that are only pertinent to your experience. That's a bit of a head full, okay? So let me back up a little bit. If you are existing in a literal drama, now let's take it just an average day that anyone might have. Well, here, I'll show you in real time what I'm talking about. Imagine going out into a, say, Walmart somewhere and finding the sports goods section, and then going up and trying to strike up a conversation talking about what we talk about. Do you think you're going to get in response? So that will give you a gauge as to how far you've climbed the ladder. And I think it would also be safe to say that you probably wouldn't last 10, 15 minutes in any normal conversation. Or certainly, go Bruins or go Leafs or go whatever is going to be first and foremost on some of these people's minds, which I would hazard to say is not first and foremost on yours. So these are the bread and circuses of Rome. These are the things that will keep you entrapped within a game reality, thinking it's real. The way I've described this game in the past is very simple. Just like a video game. The instant you start waking, and then you start making it known, is the instant you go on the game grid radar. Up until that point, if you're not making waves against the system, and you're going along with the rest of the dead carrying out the dead, you pay your taxes grumbling, and you go to work, and you do all of the things that, normal meat sticks do on a day-to-day basis, then all of a sudden you wake up and go, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. That's your first indicator, right? Something just isn't feeling right anymore. And then you start looking, and then you start uncovering the typical conspiracies. We've all walked this road. And I'll tell you, the difference between that point at what I'm talking about and where we're at right now is light years. Because while people are still stuck in this literal drama, we'll never see the spiritual side. They will always be at effect. In as much as someone that goes into a court trying to argue statutes and legalese and the rest of this shit, they haven't got a clue as to who and what they are. And they're missing the point of the game. So the game for me is quite simple, and I work diligently every day to be a better observer of those things that matter only to me. You see, because I'm the only point of consciousness I can prove. As far as I'm concerned, I'm the only God in existence, and the rest of it is just a movie. Hell of a convincing movie, no less, and I'm sure you'll probably feel the same way. But the truth is, we are all one, experiencing ourselves from completely different viewpoints. It would be a very boring game if we all had the same, piece on the board. If we were all trying to move the same piece around the board, there wouldn't be much interaction, and there certainly wouldn't be a game. You might go around the board once or twice, and that'd be fun, rolling the dice for yourself, and that's all great. But I'll tell you, the minute you have another game player or another game piece on that board, it starts to get a whole lot more interesting, because now you have a game. You have a contrast. You have something that you can sink your teeth into and someone to converse with, another part of yourself. And I'm sure many of you have sat down, as I have, every day. I have wonderful conversations with myself, because that is what we do. That is what we've always done. In the beginning, there was the one. Who the hell else are you going to talk to? So anyone that thinks talking to yourself is crazy is obviously missing the point of creation itself. And it was as a result of us talking to ourselves that this all got created. So, I mean, that can be argued it's a good thing. It can be argued that it's not a good thing, and that's entirely up to you and your perspective. But for me, it's about getting out of the matrix that we've been so deeply embedded within and have been at effect to for so very, very long. I've had enough. And I'm sure many of you have had enough. We need a better game, because, I mean, this whole thing with, the lawyers and the judges and the cops and the governments and the money and all the rest of the shit that goes along with it is beyond boring. Yeah, we get it. Ha, ha, ha. Good joke. That's the best you got? Hell, it only took me 4 decades to figure it out. So there's not much of a game there left, right? Look at how many lifetimes people go through and they never even notice it at all. Look at how many people that are on the planet right now that are traveling through, and based on where their consciousness is, it might have a little trouble, So also on the other side of that is the higher that we vibrate as a dominant frequency, and I'm speaking ethereally, the higher we can resonate at the higher frequencies, we create a void below us. That is the part of the sine wave, if you will. During one of the chats today with Rory and Val, I was trying to explain the sine wave, or the spirit mind, right? Psi N, the spirit my wave. It's my spirit wave, basically. Now, if we were to put that wave and just leave it at the equator, constantly going up and down, what you're going to find is that sine wave is going to end up meeting itself again. So that would be the equivalent of the serpent eating its own tail, ad nauseam. So what we got to do is kind of tilt the game a little bit. So while there is one plane, equatorial plane going around, challenge yourself to go up 1 or 2 degrees from that and start deviating from that line. And then you're going to start to see a spiral sine wave. And that's kind of what I'm writing about in this essay right now. So still working out some of the ways to explain this. But here it is. For all of you that have been in the game for a while, you've noticed that maybe the first fall that you experienced, or the first takedown, or whatever the case may be, the first shitty experience you had, you got up, you brushed yourself off, and you probably noticed in the mirror that you were slightly taller than you were the last time, spiritual mirror. And you had a newer, or at least a reference experience for the next level of the game, right? Because we're traveling in now laterally, and these are all different experiences, and what they do is these are things that can either make us or break us, something to build upon. These are the rocks that we build upon versus the sand that sinks and keeps going down. So if you're vibrating at a constantly higher level, you kind of skew the equatorial line and you start rising up, so that your next low is higher than your last low. Because when we're in a wave action here, and that's what reality is. It's all about waves. So wave, everybody. What happens is the higher you go on a wave, on the positive, we'll put positive on the outside, negative on the inside, just for a description. So the higher you go up on the outside of this positive wave, you are also inversely and in the mirror creating a large negative void below that wave. Now, what is negative? What is positive? Well, allegorically, positive is masculine, negative is feminine. So what you're doing with all the positive intent that you're creating is you're creating a much higher wave on your ride, your roller coaster, and in return, you are also creating a larger void with which to create in. So as you go back down on the other side of the wave, what you're doing is you're expending that positive potential into that void, and what results on the positive side is what you create. It's going to be a lot easier to explain this in an essay. Trust me on this one, I promise you. But again, higher positive you go with intent, you're creating potential. You're creating all sorts of creative potential. And what happens is, with this system, in its wonderful way, it removes as much of that potential as possible by taking that energy, so that the wave that you're building cannot get to a certain point. Unfortunately for system, that illusion is broken. And what the system is witnessing now is its own collapse, because we have created so much positive potential in a negative void that all we can do is rise. At least while I'm in the game, absolutely. That's the only way I see things. So, now if you've got that sine wave, instead of going circular around the Earth, if you can envision it going slightly up, constantly on an incline, that wave, you can leave the wave exactly the same, but your intent is different. Your intent is to climb. So what happens then is, as you expend your potential highs to do the creations and your lows, of course the mirror always has to be, the lower you go, the higher you can climb. And what you're doing is it could be an identical low, but it's slightly higher than the last because you've changed your perspective. You're climbing instead of just staying stagnant on the status quo line called the equator. That might sound a little bit complicated, but it's really quite easy. It's a lot easier to show in a drawing, so I should probably start doing videos. But anyway, that's just me. Well, let's bring some people in here, because let me just see if Santo or Mike have made it to the call. Nope, not seeing either. No worries. All right. Just checking through the chats here, guys, and then I'll get 323 open up. Okay, yeah, we're live. We're on the air. Okay. Good one, Joseph. All right. Area code 323 and area code 773. I wonder where you went. You dropped off and you're back. So jump in, guys. What's on your minds tonight?
Well, I guess I can start. I just listening to what you're saying.
Hi, Tanda. How are you? I thought that was you. I wasn't sure.
Yes, I'm well. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy new reality indeed. I'm doing well.
Hello.
I trust all is well with you because it is.
It is. Absolutely. I guess I listening to what you were saying, one thing about saying how it is in your world and being God over your universe, your reality, your movie, or I guess however one would want to label that. You're really saying to other people, too, that you have to find your godness, your reality, your movie, the way it's going to work for you, and you will learn to play that out. So it's really about getting in your own lane and realizing what your job is. I mean, when you talk about being a chess player, and being where is your place on the board? Where do you fit on that board? And the potential, when I heard you talk about potential, and the wave and the high and the low, really that's about your emotions and how you're able to deal, because you talked about being neutral through everything. So it's like it's an acceptance. So almost in that low, being accepting so that you can rise, because even when those things happen, you learn from them or you see them for what they are, and you can really begin to sidestep them. And the more in tune you become, you can avoid them totally. They don't even affect you anymore.
The easiest way to describe it is probably the most graphic way. This place, you're absolutely right. This place is all about getting you to lose your potential energy by, creating emotions and all the rest of it. We can call it, let's say you're building your potential up to do something, then something emotional hits you, and you have a premature ejaculation of that energy, and it drains into the negative creation. And I mean that quite literally. So it really is that simple. Can you hold the charge to release it when you intend versus having someone or something come into your lane and derail you? And only when you get neutral can you maintain that charge, that positive charge. Until you decide, okay, I'm ready for this one, and then you let it go and you put that intent and power into it. See, what we don't have the chance to do is build up like the capacitors we are. Ka, pa, is, or is, ice, is, right? Taurus. So when we're talking about capacitance, there's that ent word again, mind. It's like the word I was talking with Rory and Valerie earlier, the word experience. Well, let's have a look at experience. I'll tell you what experience is. X is life. Okay, X marks the spot. Per, which means by. I, the self, and ens, the mind. So it is life by my mind. Life by my mind. So it's what you are creating. I explained it a lot better earlier with Val and Rory, but that should give you an idea of how I locate things, and I have not found any better trick than phonics. It's the trick of tricks, purple people. Seriously.
I have a question.
Sure.
Because I know that you have evolved to this place. I want to put this right.
Don't worry. Yes, you can say it any way you want. It's all neutral. I know it comes from you neutral. It's beautiful, so lay it on us.
Okay, well, as a human being, you have to have had emotions, or you have those moments, or what do you do in that moment when you know you need to become neutral? Is there a tool that you use, or what do you do?
Okay, great question. And this is about how I came into finding neutral. And don't kid yourself, guys. I have my days, okay? I mean, I'm still practicing being, actually, I'm not so much a human being as I'm being human. So, for me, let's say a situation, and always remember, I keep in the back of my mind this one thing. The emotions are the things that we need to experience, but we don't need to be controlled by them. It goes like the wife must be subservient to the husband, so the emotions must be subservient to the mind, which means that Emotions, for me, is the whole point of being here, to experience these things. But are we getting lost in them? So I choose at that moment, am I going to get lost in this emotion? And there are times that I will just, okay, I've got to go through this. So I go through that emotion to the degree that it releases itself, and I go, cool. You know the old saying, go and have a good cry, or whatever the case may be, and you feel relieved because you've gotten rid of that negative energy. You're basically discharging the garbage. And we have to go through each of these things. And that's why I tell people, when you look back at things in your past, are you looking at them from the perspective of a victim or a vice in time, or as a victor, which means you're getting a grip on the toroidal field, the vice of Taurus, the Taurus, right? So that's what they mean when they say get a grip on reality, okay? So you can look at it from either perspectives. So I choose to kind of sit in the middle there to see what it feels like. And only you can determine these things. So for me, it's not about letting emotions control me. I can choose, and this is the joy of this, because I can choose any emotion I want, and I can experience it at will and not have it control me because I know what it is. So not only do I get to enjoy the emotion, whether it's positive or negative is irrelevant, I still get to enjoy that emotion, but it doesn't have a grip on me. And how many people do you know that get completely lost in their emotions? They hold these little grudges, they get angry, they get upset, and all these things, and they just hold on to this, and then they spend all their time inside their own heads trying to justify why they need to hold on to this, because it provides what I call a service. You know, oh, well, someone's mad at me, I better go and service them, you know? I better take care of that. I don't give a fuck anymore. You want to play that game, that's fine. I'd rather hang out with happy beings, personally. That's just me. Call me crazy, please.
Yes.
Does that help at all?
I agree. Yes, yeah. That I just want people to get to that. I mean, because you are so neutral, but that it's work in that. I mean, like you said, it's being balanced, and it's being accepting of all emotions. Just accepting. You know.
Yeah, neutral doesn't mean that you're numb. You know, you can be numb if you want, but when a lot of times when people talk about being numb, they have literally turned off all emotions and completely afraid to feel anything. It's like when you go out and say just fall in love with someone, you're putting a lot on the line with that, because what happens if they don't reciprocate? Are you willing to experience the effect of being, spurned, if you will? Or are you kind of looking at it from the experience, oh, gee, I wonder what it feels like to really fall in love with someone and get my ass kicked. Wonder what that feels like. And how many of us have done that? Oh, all of us. What goes around comes around. So neutral is not about being numb. Neutral is about being so completely wide open that you can experience anything you choose. You don't let the emotions choose you. You choose the emotions. So it's like being in a car. You can leave the gear shift in neutral and, sit and observe the game. And sometimes things make you want to rev up and throw it in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so forth. But then you're the one driving now. You decide how far you want to drive and how fast you want to drive with these emotions. And then when you've experienced all the thrills and spills of the ride of that particular emotion, that particular game, then you just throw it back in neutral and go, wow, that was good. Then you can reflect on it in a neutral position. And you've experienced it, but it doesn't own you. You own the experience. Hey, Tana, how many people do you know that their experiences totally own them?
A lot. Most.
Yeah, most. Without question, most. As soon as people start talking about their literal dramas, you can rest assured that they're owned by their emotions. You walk in somewhere and interject, just for the shits and giggles, a completely diametrically opposed idea with someone sitting at the table, and watch how quickly they tell you to fuck off. Are they owned by the experience? Or you see, that's the difference. Now you're walking in there with intent to see what kind of emotions you can generate within that table as a learning experience for yourself, so you can see yourself in the contrast. It's a beautiful thing to do. How many rooms have you walked into and watch the energy shift just by merely walking into it. Probably countless times.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And our intent in that, in becoming neutral, and like you said, the intent, you're neutral, you're objective, but you have your intent, and that opens up for the universe. It allows. So you're not dictating how it's going to happen, but you can just, a beautiful day, and it will turn out to be a beautiful day. It happens for me all the time. All the time. You know, and I'm learning to do that more and more because it's getting out of the self, getting out of this matrix, this drama, and creating my world regardless as to what anything looks like, creating my world and my intent. And I have to say it's working. It's working. It's working. And I have to remember that every day, every moment.
Absolutely, and you got to stay in that moment. That is well, you don't have to. I mean, listen, we're not here just to be bored out of our skulls, okay? That's why we created the game, all right? But again, it's still about becoming the game master versus the game slave. And how many people do you know are slaves to this game? Most. You know, people get caught up in this drama and that drama, and look how many layers away they are if they're still going out, well, I need to, make this to pay my taxes for this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to have this, got to get this license, I got to get this ID, and they're completely wrapped inside the matrix. Completely. And is that where we are? No. Do I cast judgment? Oh, hell no. I've been there myself. This is why I have this perspective. This is why I have this viewpoint. I had the opportunity to experience it. So now I can see the contrast, and I'm looking at, oh, yeah, I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore because that's not something I would do anymore. So what I'm doing now is making an aware choice within my timeline, going lateral, as to what I accept within my reality or not. Good example is the best fight is the one you walk away from. Because you're not going to get caught up in someone else's turmoil. You're not going to get caught up in someone else's drama. And I think, we got Val and Lori on the call here right now, right? 773.
You got Rory.
Yes, Kate. I was being domestic. I was doing some dishes.
Right on. And we have Rory. Holy, look at you guys go. Right on. So, don't mind me just shifting around here a little bit. I actually want to see if I can get a signal in my car. If we drop off, don't worry, I'll rejoin the call. But I actually managed to hold a phone call today. Right, Val? Right, Lori?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was 2 hours.
Well, let's just see, because wish me luck. It's all right. We'll hold the signal. You ready? We got the signal? Okay, I'm out of the wind. Don't have a fire going tonight. Besides, it'd be too damn cold to do that anyway, so I will just sit in my car. Look at that. I can broadcast from my car.
Isn't technology wonderful?
Oh, yeah. And if I need power, I can go...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I said it's wonderful how technology reaches the masses. Did you drop off?
Couldn't agree more. I muted out. I thought you were going to have a bit more than that to share, but that's okay. It's all good. But yeah, it was a great conversation this afternoon, and we went into a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about right now. And here, let me get your feedback on the conversation that we had and what I was trying to convey.
Sure. Well, what you were trying to convey, and I was a little left-brained today, so I thank you for your kindness and your mercy in understanding where I was coming from, and you graciously improved the wavelength that I should have been on versus the wavelength that I was on. But
you just shifted your perspective. That's all. There was nothing gracious about it. What we did was we walked through what you were experiencing, and in the real time, because that's your experience. I don't feel your experience. I can look at it and empathize with it because I have similar experiences. and this is how we actually learn to attract and resonate with each other. But you walked the perspective beautifully, and then you got outside the box. And oh, by the way, did I mention that someone had already? I didn't know it at the time, but someone else had posted the lyrics for "Purple People Eater." right about the same time we were talking about it, no less.
Yeah, and just to expound on that a little bit, Kate, Rory here. The Zeus's lightning bolt was pretty profound for me to see how that when you're stuck in that whole legal fiction, the way to the point of the arrow, so to speak, to the narrow path, which is our yellow brick road, it's quite, the way that I'm viewing it now is when I look at that lightning bolt is I see that we're actually being cornered into the point before we enter into that narrow road, and then when we actually reach that spiritual essence, we then open ourselves up to so much more creation, and that was very profound for me to see that.
That's where we become the tree of life. The tree is the same example. And for those, I have talked about this before, but here's how you can have a look at it. If you've got a piece of paper, if you remember the old days in school, the greater than and lesser than symbols, the sideways triangle or V. So you've got on the one side, you can do this on a computer right now if you want. Just do the greater than, which is the arrow pointing to the right. Then you do a whole bunch of dashes. And then you do the lesser than, which is the arrow pointing to the left. And what they're doing is they're pointing at each other, and they've got this dotted line between them. That's Zeus's lightning bolt. So on the left side is physical reality, where we are looking for this very narrow road to find. And then once we find it, all our actions are geared to us eventually percolating to that point where we enter the narrow road. Then we walk that narrow road for a while, and depending on where you're at in the game, will determine how long you stay on it or if you get knocked off it. But it's not a very long road when you really stop and think about it because, well, here we are. And then when you get to the other end, what you see is creation opening up like the tree. As above, the branches out, as below, the roots branching out as well. So that is the tree of life. The narrow road is the one that we have to walk in order to find that branching out, when you understand that every thought you have is one domino that lays waste to countless dominoes throughout the infinity. Every choice you make has ramifications everywhere. Ram, I, Phi, Ka, Ti, ions. Ramification, or Ramifikai, Ka, Ti, ions, right? So, see, it's all in the words. Ram, we've talked about RAM. We can even talk about the RAM on your computer. It's just a coincidence, RAM and ROM, as I like to call it. You got to clear the RAM drive, that's your left brain, in order to leave enough room to start new creations. We get so cluttered up with all the literal left that we don't have any time for any creativity because our RAM is jam-packed full, and you can't have an original thought to save your life. That's what it means to shut down the thoughts. It's not about trying to not think. It's about getting all that shit out of the way so you've got a clear RAM to work from. Your computer will work a whole lot better and a whole lot faster, I promise you. So, anyway, just my thoughts on it.
No, that's beautiful thoughts there.
Well, hopefully it makes sense, you know. I mean, it feels right and it thinks right for me, but that's my reality as I see it. So, but let's get everybody in tonight because we're gonna have a mind blower tonight. I can feel it, and of course we're in the Grand Cross right now. So X marks the spot. We have the sights set on stun, not kill. that's what others do. We just kind of go, hey, check this out. So let's just say this course. Rory, oh my, and that's not to exclude anybody. So please remember, guys, just because bring someone else in doesn't mean to say you got to shut up for the rest. I actually expect everyone to keep going and jump in. I want to hear table talk here. I don't want to hear let's talk to Kate and then let's talk to Kate and then no. I want to hear everybody talking. All right. So hey, Rory, how the hell are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm just a little nervous. I had a little. I was arrested. And which is fine. I had to go through that. I it's not a matter of I made a mistake or not. I just didn't know who I was at that time. I really truly knew who I was. and it just seemed I had to see it play out, and then or I don't know if I needed to see it. Just played out, and it really did seem like these people are just so programmed, because they did yell at me when I said it, that I'm not legal name, and I am the witness, and it just I had not felt very good that day. I had bad energy around me or whatever. But anyways, that's no excuse. I'm just saying it played out like it did. But what I want to say is I know who I am. I need to be the artist, and not be the one to let somebody, because I was reading your Canvas article, your paper that you had wrote, and I was talking with Ninja, and I said it was just like kindergarten. I said it's like somebody's projecting paint by numbers, and we all in the kindergarten class got our paints, but we only can color certain numbers because somebody else has got the freaking paint. So
agreed.
So that's pretty much how that's how I'm fucking seeing it. You know, I'm not gonna lie that I'm not a little nervous, but like I was posting in the Skype room, sometimes I have to get my thoughts out. If I keep them in, sometimes it's kind of crazy. We were talking about Art Prize here in Grand Rapids, and we were talking about a friend of mine. As a matter of fact, I used my friend's poster in in one of the posters that I had made a while back. And if you remember, it's the one with the pink flamingo.
Yes, I do remember that one.
Like the bridge. Well, that was my friend. My friend Ken, and he loved to paint. That was one of the main things he painted was flamingos. I have no idea. And but anyways, I love that painting because it represented a bridge and crossing it to the other side. And so anyways, I was talking about him entering Art Prize, and Art Prize is kind of a big thing here, where all the creative people get together, whatever it is, as long as it ain't something sexual in nature. I presume that it can get entered, I suppose. But Ken ran into a little incident. And his painting he entered in was judged before it was actually, quote, looked at by the entire viewing people of the Grand Rapids area. And his painting was judged immediately that it didn't fit the decor of the Art Prize. And so, in other words, I don't know where I'm really going with this, but they just, I'm losing my thought. That his creativity might. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially when we speak of art and our creations, art is viewed in the eye of the beholder, right? So, what might be beautiful for one is absolutely aghast for another, but then that's what emotions and this physical reality do. It puts us in a judging position, and that's what our whole society is about. They teach us that from, very young. I do think I did cover that in the Behold a White Canvas essay. We've had our canvases, taken from us, and we've become very protective of the little space that we do have on it. So that's another part of this program, in that little space that we have left in terms of creation, it doesn't take much to derail. Like, how many people do you know that get derailed because they've tried something? I'll give you a prime example in history of someone that got shunned because of their art. And the guys was from pre-World War I, had done some beautiful paintings of Vienna and Paris and a lot of other beautiful landscapes. I thought they were quite fetching and very, very professionally done. I mean, it looked like any other mainstream beautiful artist of the day, yet this individual was shunned and kicked out of Austrian art school as being, not good enough. And the guy's name was Adolf Hitler.
Right. Right. I should have known that was what you were describing.
Well, you see, I love the whole thing of showing you the power of taking someone's creation and belittling it, and what can actually be created, something that was absolute beauty became its absolute opposite, you see.
Yeah, I remember one time when I was, there's a college here, it's Calvin College, and I had started playing piano kind of late. I was more like in maybe my junior high years, I started playing piano. And by the time I got to high school, my level of playing for somebody of my age was a little behind, so to speak, towards, from the rest of the class or the rest of the people that are of that age bracket taking piano. If there's an age bracket, you can take piano at any age. It doesn't matter. But anyways, I went to Calvin College to perform. They give me a rating, and the judge, it was so funny. I played on this old upright piano, and this judge, after I was done playing, this judge says, you are not at the level you should be at. But I never explained to him that I had only taken lessons for only like 3 years. And so
there's a shocker, eh?
Yeah. So it was so it was like it's just I don't know. It was kind of strange. It was just what I was going to mean. It was like surreal how things were just playing, because I was looking at him as he was telling me that I wasn't at my level. And I think that's been the whole thing through the whole thing. I haven't been at my level.
Well, again, that's an external
that
judgment.
Only I can answer for for myself. I mean.
Yeah, see, only you can judge your own experience. Now, I want to quickly go back to what you said you were feeling about being a little nervous and this and that and the other.
Yeah.
Okay, let's deal with that. I'm going to show you how to look at these things, at least how they look for me, anyway, to see if there's anything you can get from it. I love sharing experience because you never know. That can be beneficial. So here we go. So, yeah, it's not a comfortable feeling, yeah?
No, it's not a good feeling. It's very...
Okay. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to fully experience it. Look at every nook and cranny of that emotion that you're feeling, and during this looking at it, I want you to ask yourself, is it real or is it imagined? It feels very real, but it's coming from an imagined source. It is something that is in the future if we were to go linear. All right, so here let's take the moment, and this is why I ask people to, and I do this myself too, and it's not an easy process, but you get better over time with it, is where you start getting comfortable with things. It's like I've said many times about my own fears and terrors within me. They were very real. Coming from an imagined script writing, they were very real. What I learned to do was stop script writing, look at them and go, okay, well, that's an emotion that I really don't like, but I'm not going to run away from it. What I'm going to do is be a neutral observer of it and go, oh, so that's what terror feels like. Okay, well, now I know what it feels like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept that feeling. I'm going to be at complete ease with that feeling and accept it for what it is, and I'm going to push it aside. It's still going to be there. It's still very real in my reality, but it's not something that I am leading with. It's off the side. So I got it. The easiest way to overcome fear is to ask yourself the question, is it going to kill me? And you will find that, no, it won't. And then you start to lessen the effects of that energy, right? Because what we have here, the physical ego is so terrified of death, because only in the meat sticks can the personality exist, right? Because you take on all of the attributes of the DNA of all these things, and it's the only place in this reality that it can exist, is when all these things come together. So it's not your fear of death. It is that which you are in agreement with in a physical sense is fear of death. And it's very real because, the ego only lasts for a lifetime. You, on the other hand, are infinite. So we got to learn to be a little bit more gentle with our own experiences. Otherwise, we become at complete effect to the ego that gets kind of out of place once in a while, gets you all caught up in dramas because it wants to experience everything, but it's not you. I love that. I forget where I saw it. I think it was in Runner, where that little voice in the back of your head, that's fear. It's not you. That's fear. So separate yourself.
Yeah, I had to.
But don't. Go ahead.
I had to ask some people in my family not to. I just said that, it's not fun to live in fear, and I think that, and I recognize that very much so. But it's when you were saying, I had a thought earlier that when I had first met you, I had thought, wow, this is really crazy. And now I think it's like, this is really some kind of crazy, you know what I mean? It's just, wow.
Well, Rory, you have been along for the ride. You've seen me ride the waves. You've seen me go up and down.
I have seen it. I've heard it all. I've heard it and I've listened, and then I've had people tell me not to listen, and I just, there was something about you in particular with the message, not the messenger, but the message that I heard loud and clear, very loud and clear. And so, and I know that message is, that's not your fucking artwork, Rory. That's not you. It's not your fucking artwork. You didn't create it. Get your hands off it. Don't claim it. It's not yours. It's somebody else's. Let them claim it if they want it. Don't you.
Bingo.
And that was a lesson that I learned. But this is the opposite lesson because, I had kind of a naughty past. And
all good.
It's all good. Hey. There was a gentleman in my class, in art class, and he drew a picture, and I was just so damn frickin' taken back by it because it was so good. I couldn't draw a six-figure if I wanted to. I just can't draw nothing. I mean, I can't even draw a floor plan. I can make a wall, trust me. But anyways, this gentleman drew this picture of this woman. Well, I kind of had a crush on this teacher. And, matter of fact, he also went to Calvin College, by the way. And I handed this naked picture of this woman just to get a rise out of him, and I just laughed so hard. But, I didn't even care about the consequences. I fucking laughed.
And you got to create the effect for a change, and that's really what it boils down to.
Right, exactly.
Are you going to be cause over it? Now, here, I don't want to lose track of where we were with regards to this feeling. Okay. Now, once you have put it aside, experience it. Sit there and really try to experience it. And put yourself. See, what we are afraid of is the experience of the emotion, not the emotion itself. So get right into that emotion and experience it to its fullest. Imagine everything you can to absolutely scare the shit out of you. Experience that emotion. Go through all of the different scenarios. This is not script writing. This is script destroying, okay? So when you get there and you've done all of these like crazy scenarios, well, if this does this and this, and you create as much as you can and then laugh at it. Because I'll tell you what will happen then is that emotion won't have the power it did. You won't have the fear of being in the emotion. The emotion itself is nothing. What we have is a fear of experiencing it. So experience it. Get into it and go, wow, that feels really shitty. That's like, oh, I don't like that, and this is garbage, but wow, that kind of feels, it lightens up every part of you when you decide to experience it, and you'll notice something transform at the other side of it. Because that which we confront head on, as the bull, the Taurus, the toroidal field, the resistance, right?
Hey, Kate. Can I jump in? It's Tracy.
Yeah. I just finished the one thought.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it was about the resistance. When we are resisting something, we are creating it even more. So find those things that you have a slight abrasion to, and then just push through them. And you'd be amazed at that energy that it took you to push through it was actually given to you by that which you had to push through. Go ahead, Trace.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about, processing emotions. I don't know who the gal was earlier, but I wanted to respond. But I just want to say, Rory, I commend you for your honesty. Yeah, you didn't know yourself, and I hope our brother Dean hears this and gets himself out of that situation pretty soon. So, yeah, our emotions are something that's my favorite subject, because the shadow side is how we got into this by not acknowledging our own traumas. We were taught to stuff them and do other things other than express our emotions, right? We were hysterical or we were mentally ill. And our emotions serve to purge past traumas from past lives and this life. When somebody outside of us, the old paradigm was, oh, boo, I'm a victim, you hurt my feelings. Like where we are now, it's when something or someone triggers a negative emotion, whatever we want to contract with, we're charging it based on that emotion. We're charging that, and then we're going to experience that. So to stay neutral to me is to, like what Kate said, the way I term it is embrace it, accept it, that it came before, so here it is in the physical. Let's just go through it, because there's no stuffing it back down. That's what we did before. That's caused dis-ease and denial, and those emotions emitted into the field without our knowledge, in our ignorance, and that's the problem that we have out there. So what we do now to process those emotions is embrace them and love them, what I say. Love it out of existence. Find out what just happened right now that caused me to react, that's giving me the opportunity to purge a past trauma, because it's not about what just happened on the outside.
Let me jump in here, because what I'm trying to steer people away from is that, because that becomes drama.
Well, no, I said the same thing.
Hang on.
Accept and love it out of existence.
I know what you're saying. It's just bringing other elements into that can keep things in a very literal realm. Here, I'll give you an example. First thing that reacts with me is, that's right. As soon as Dean's related, that direct that gets turned. See.
Hey, you broke up a bit.
Mm-hmm. I see everything out of the board. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to get people away from is the drama, is mode, and the example Rory is to it's the best foot to get control back of realizing that it is just a literal illusion, that it is something that you are imagining. So are you going to get effect to the effect, or are you going to start being cause over it? And that's where I was going next. Now, I got to tell you, this whole thing with Dean has been a beautiful allegory. I watched a little video today. He's in. I'm going, wait a minute, that's 11. Okay, good. That's a duality. We're good. Which falls in line with Dean Clifford, DC, direct current. So, and I'm looking at what is he doing, and he is in the belly of the beast. And as soon as he
is,
out,
but like,
yeah, it's an allegory. I don't.
Rory said he doesn't totally know who he is to be in there right now. Is he going to surrender? Is he going to file a private prosecution? Are the witnesses going to show up? Are they going to file on his behalf?
Trace,
and is he going to surrender his ID? Because right now,
Trace,
he's
not my concern.
I know.
No,
but
hang
I'm
on.
talking allegorically, sister.
No, actually, no. You're talking very literally. What I'm trying to, this is the thing that I'm trying to write to get people to see this. It's such a fine line.
I'm bridging it. Sorry.
I know you are. I know this table is bridging it. That's what this table's about. And
exactly. So we've got, this is the current topic, and I just current. There's the word. I just think. He said was, to me, it was worth addressing, because he deserves to be commended for acknowledging that if you're if you're getting arrested, if you're at the front line, you're in the belly of the beast. If you're partaking in any of the man-made anything, that is destructive to any aspect of life.
Right.
You are.
I was taking my baby steps. Yeah, that's all right. There's some things you don't know about me, but I was taking my baby steps, right along with everybody else. Let's see. When they had been, what this whole thing is about concerning is, it doesn't really matter what is concerning. To be honest with you, I'm in there. I'm in
Sorry,
their
I just want to put
but I put some paperwork into that I shall not be with unclean hands. All those with my birth certificate, with the fraud, and all the documents are all there with my blood. Everything boxed in red. I don't know if these people, if they have a brain to read it or not. It doesn't matter, I guess.
It's got nothing to do with them, guys. Right. Okay, hang on.
I understand that.
Rory,
I know that.
Rory, hang on. I need to jump in here. I need to ask Tanda, can you take the helm? Because I've got to go get my power line for my computer. So, Tanda, table is yours. Carry on, guys. I'll be right back. Carry on.
Oh, yes, carry on. I know he was speaking.
What I was going to say about the paperwork, you guys, my intent is to prove that we live my intent is that I don't want to create any more of this fucking horse shit anymore. Okay? I don't want to be a part of their system. And so that's what, that I just was, like there was something on a radio show of, what was it, last week or I can't remember, but it was something to do with, a flag of some kind. You're surrendering to love or something to that effect, or to peace. And that's really what I want, peace. And I don't want any more of this other horse shit. Basically, that's what I want. That's what I want to see.
Well,
so
this is very.
It's not about going to war. I'm done with that.
Rory, this is Valerie. I just wanted to touch base and tell you what Kate was talking about was somebody ordering a flag, and I think the question was what is the universal flag, which is white,
right.
The white flag.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you were talking about?
That was exactly what I was. I just heard it mentioned on a radio show. That's what I had heard. And then I heard somebody. Then I believe I heard someone mention the word slavery. Now, I had gone to the clerk's office here in Grand Rapids, and I had asked a question of one of the women there, and I said, "Who owns this birth certificate?" And she only thing she could tell me, she said that it is your name, which of course I know it is not. And she says, "Well, then I should seek legal advice." And of course we know that's not a good thing. So, I guess, basically, when Kay gets back, it all is about intent. It's what it's about. It's not me against them. It's just me stepping out. I realize that.
There you go.
Yeah, it's me stepping out. But what I'm getting at is I don't want to say this. Stepping away, but I'm still physically here at a certain address. Even though, I don't know if it is, but the thing is, never mind.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, because I just was thinking because, I know that they know where to come get their thing, they think they're intellectual property, they think they own it. And so they just can come and get it. It's just let me just can I just interject here? I don't mean any disrespect. You're a wonderful individual in this universe, right? In your own movie. But you couldn't possibly mean that much to them to come and get you.
You see what I'm saying?
Right, I realize that. Well, I'm going to tell you something, sweetheart. This is what I did. This is so crazy. What was your name? It's Tracy, right?
No, it's Valerie.
Valerie, I'm sorry, Valerie. You know what I did on Christmas Day? I know, and I have done some emailings. Maybe not as many as everybody else, but I have done some. Mostly, I have emailed my mayor and other government officials, and I emailed the vitals. It doesn't matter. I just let them know, the fraud. I was letting them know of it. And so I had emailed something on Christmas Day, and then the next day they, they came. And so then I hadn't been feeling good, but go ahead.
What did you want to happen?
I didn't want. Actually, I don't know what I wanted to happen. I wanted him to know the fraud. The fraud of things, and that's all I was doing was sharing. Really. But you had an action, and your action created another action. Right.
Or your
right. I understand. I understand that. The intent was pure. As far as sending the email, it was a harmless email. I mean, with a few links.
Oh no, that's what they should, and that's what
Yeah. So, but I had been sending. It doesn't matter. I had been sending everything back to them, but it doesn't matter for me to go over all this stuff. I know who I am. Kate's not back yet, is she?
I have a question for you. What are you fearing most right now?
What what I'm fearing, Tina? I remember listening, honey, to you when you were talking about your grandma and how much you love your grandma, and I was and it's just in a Kate's letter, and my fear most of all, I guess. I don't know what it is really, to be honest with you. I got some, I love the people that I'm around, that I have a wonderful relationship with a wonderful human being that looks at me, and my partner is HIV positive, and I'm not going in all this drama. I'm just saying it just is, it's deep. It's real. I mean, it's fucking just real. That's what
I get it. I get it with my grandma.
Yeah, it's fucking real. And I tell people, and I shouldn't tell people, but when I had talked to my own mother, and she would look at me like I was, from planet frickin', wherever. And sometimes I would even think in my own mind that, my God, Rory, where in the fuck are you at? What planet are you on? I would look at myself in the mirror. What are you doing? I mean,
Yeah. Well,
but I know there's something. But I know there's something wrong. That's all I need.
Thank you, and stick with it, because I want to tell you about 2 weeks ago, my grandmother told me. She said, "Painda, I had a dream." Because she has her abilities, and she's like, "I've seen it all." And she told me to keep doing what I was doing, that she saw everything, that she said the devil had even gotten into her to even try and make her have me change my mind, that the decisions I was making, she could see how they were going to work out. And that totally blew my mind, and it was unexpected. So what I'm saying is, when you know that you are holding your truth, it hurts, because, we went through, and I'm still other people in my life, and other, it's always something, but you must hold your own truth. You have, because in the end, if you don't, and you're doing something to appease others, you're still going to feel it on the inside. You get me? You feel
right? Exactly. Yeah. I know I can take the easy way out, of course.
Yeah.
Of course I can go the easy way out. And I was wondering, when I was going to ask Kate, a question, because since she knows it's not against us, against them, because that's not what it is, because they woke us up. But basically.
And I'm going to ask you again to reflect on what is that biggest fear, and like Kate was saying earlier, to look at it, face it, and let it go.
Right.
It's not a reality. You know what I mean? You're in the reality, but what I'm saying is that fear, whatever you're fearing, is not a reality. You don't want to make it a reality, but if you face it and look at it and say, okay, and so what? So what at the end of the day? Because, like you said, we're here, and we know that we're making moves. You know, what can they really do to us? What can they do?
Exactly. I know exactly. Yeah, everything that is in their system is all false. I was trying to get my point across in a Skype chat in the main room, and sometimes my words get a little stumbly. But what I was basically communicating is that that anything that they have as far as with that legal name is their creation and not yours. And it doesn't belong to you, and you don't play with it. And you don't turn it in as your art prize, so to speak, as it's yours.
Here, even simpler, okay?
Okay.
Even simpler, all right? This is simply an emotion you need to experience and work through to show you the yellow brick road. Every emotion we go through is to show us the yellow brick road. And the challenge of the joke, this is a joke we're in, cosmic joke. Are you going to fall for it? How many times are we going to allow ourselves to fall for the I'm only good joke? Right? You're both. As I was talking to Val and Rory earlier, you do, because here's where we get polarized. We all deem ourselves to be all good and glorious, but we all have the potential to be both good and evil. We just make the more aware choice now of having experienced the evil, don't want to have to experience it anymore, and don't want others to experience it because it sucks, but then that's being selfish. You got to think like a serial killer. You know, you really have to look at both sides of the coin as far as you can go. So, is the system doing you harm or is it doing you good? It's actually doing you both. It depends on your perspective. So what more do you have to go through to alleviate this emotional drama that people keep getting caught in? Are you going to buy the bullshit? This is one of the reasons why I have such a very hard time talking and communicating with anyone. Because it always gets in the literal, and I honestly cannot stomach literal anymore. It is so benign to me, and the magic. It's sort of like watching the best movie in the world, and somebody dragging you back to watch the same rerun you've seen 1,000 times and are sick of. Would you do it? No. But everyone wants to keep dragging me there, and I'm going, no, I don't want to play that game. I'm sorry. I want to show you the magic, the real magic of this place. I got to tell you, Saving Mr. Banks is a great movie. It really outlines this, and when you see the drama portray from the analytical viewpoint of just looking at it to see what the message is trying to tell you. For me, I only see things now that confirm everything that I'm doing, and that this game is unfolding properly. The Grand Cross of yesterday today is the crosshairs. Yet everyone is still caught up in their own little dramas. They're caught up in their own little scenarios. What is that doing to you? It's keeping you pigeonholed into that little window, and you will never see your goddess if you are stuck in that window. I'm trying to show everyone the field, the wide open, expansive field to look at everything. The other end of Zeus's thunderbolt, where all potential is realized, where all possibilities are there in infinite layers upon layers, where you can finally see. For me, this whole game was about finding my way back out. This is the Hansel and Gretel trail. We walked into the woods really, really deep, almost got eaten by the witch, and fortunately we have found our way back out. We were going to anyway. I don't know why people get so stressed about, well, the world's going to end. No, it's not. A particular reality might end, but that's a new beginning for something else. So there is no ending, and there is no beginning, right? So I don't know why people get so stressed out about it. I know I did. I mean, shit, look, Rory, you heard me rant up and down from the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
I've ranted too. I have too as well, and I got caught up in the literals because I felt like I was playing, and myself in my mind, I felt like I was playing World of Warcraft, and I got caught up into something. In my mind, it was just everything was kind of like misfiring. But once I got to the point where the artist, the canvas, and I've read it before, but this time I'm taking in every word. I want to control my own. I want my own paintbrush. I want my own paints, and I want everybody to play together and paint together. Basically, that's basically what we're all. That's the main goal. If there is such a thing as a goal.
What? Oh, there is absolutely. We're just walking our way through the game. What is your Gregorian date that you're looking at?
The date that I am looking at for the court date?
Yeah.
It'd be the January 3rd.
Oh, so that's tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning at 8:30, yes.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. May I suggest when you go in, take a white flag with you?
Okay, no, I'm glad I called because I didn't know if I should go in or not and make an appearance.
Well, walk in and see. This is the thing that people miss on. If you are given something like this, I see that as the beast opening its mouth to take beans that you're going to throw down its gullet. Have you thrown in the I am the witness cover letter yet?
Yes, I have thrown in. What I put in was the unclean hands document is what I put in. And then let me go to my computer a second, and I can click to that. Everything put into a folder.
See, one of the things that I want to stress to people right now, while I've got you, Rory, people ask me, which one do I put in? I have one answer. Everything that we have.
Yeah, everything I did. Everything I did.
Yeah, I'm talking documents here, okay? Things like from my page, for example, people ask me, what ones do I use? All of them. Because there's no point showing up to a, quote, war with only part of your ammo. Bring it all. Because the more you know intentfully in you, the more powerful. It's not the paper that does anything, it's you. But it's getting the concepts. Once you get the concepts, that's when, I've had people use this stuff and it hasn't worked. It's because they didn't read the shit. It wasn't theirs. And all that proved to me was, it has to be the intent. You have to know what it is you're doing, or empty, it's meaningless. The universe will help those that help themselves, right? If you're looking for someone to, and I'm talking in general with everybody, but those that have looked to me for paperwork to save them and have others to read it, and then get all surprised when something doesn't work for them. I'm not saying you. There's people in my past, right?
Right. That's fine. I'm sorry. But
no, it's
I wasn't
doing that. It's you that's doing the magic. That's
right. Exactly. It's my intent is that I don't want to play the game anymore. Basically, it's what my intent is. I don't want to play the game anymore. Okay, so my court date tomorrow is at 8:30. I didn't quite know what I should do because since I submitted that, I know that it doesn't mean anything. It's my intent, and it's just basically it's my word exposing. It's exposing the fraud, and the fraud is the birth certificate. We all know it is. The name is owned because I asked. Because we all know it. There's no sense in going into it. We know it.
Okay, and you filed. Hang on. You filed paperwork in on it. Yes.
Yes, I did. Yep.
Okay. So can it be assumed or presumed that you are the legal name?
No.
Actually, it can, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. You're right. It is your intent that counts. I'm just covering bases here, Rory.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's all.
Okay.
May I make a suggestion that in dealing with this, going in with your ammo, if you can, I would, if it were me, and I've dealt with the court, I would have my copies, and if what needed to be highlighted, I would highlight it and give them a copy of it too. I would, because that way the judge can take a good look at, or whomever needs to look at it, they can take a look at what you're saying, and you can point it directly out to them, and that will get their attention, and just really the power.
Now, what I was going to ask you, Kate and Tanda, was, do I go in as I'm going to go in as a living, making peace with a white flag?
If you go in with a white flag, they cannot be transgressed. That's a fact. That was an early clue, by the way. So someone had actually done that and treated properly. Unfortunately, it was still around the time of well, not unfortunately, but it was during the illusion of divine province, like divine province mattered, which it didn't. What mattered was what
we know that now.
Well, again, it only matters with what the intent of the individual is. There is nothing. I mean, I need to get this point home to people. Okay, I keep being honest. There's no one come to save you. You are God. Okay. Roll that one around in your little universe for a little bit, because you are the universe, and I need everyone to get this. Okay, there's no one coming to save you. Only by your actions will you be known. Okay, now I'll use this example. This guy walks in. He was part of Divine Province. He walked in with a white flag, and he was treated with utmost respect. Not because of Divine Province, and not even because this guy knew who he was. It's because he had something there that is internationally, and I'm talking on the Earth scale, that is recognized as something that is of the whiteness or the witness. Right? When you walk in with the white flag means one of two things. It means you do not wish to make war, and it also means that you've had enough of the war. They call that surrender, but in this case it's not surrender, it's about parlay. It's about, here I am, and you've established your own living jurisdiction as a whiteness, as a witness. So this is I think we lost Trace in the call here. I hope she can join back in. But when Trace went in, she was told prior to that by a native elder to wear a white blouse. She walked in with her white flag on, with the right intent to do this. She wasn't going in there for vengeance. She just wanted to stop what was going on. These are some of the very fine points that people are glazing over on, because everyone's still caught in the vengeance. I need to take these motherfuckers down. No, you don't. What you need to do is save yourself. And when you understand this, when you get this, and you stand in that space, nothing touches you. And regardless of any situation like with me, for me, everything that I experience is not because of anything other than what I still need to uncover within myself. I'm okay with looking at things without getting the shit beat out of me. Okay? And when I find things, I share them. That's why I write. That's what I do. Right? And this is my focus. So with regard to tomorrow, if you do go in or don't, it's irrelevant. If you don't go in, great. You've already made it known to universe. You've made the effort. So it's what does your heart tell you to do? If you feel that you should, then do. If you feel that you shouldn't, then don't. But you've got to be the one to do it. Don't put it on somebody else's rule saying, well, you have to be here because. No, sorry. In my universe, I'm God. I make the rules.
Kate, I've never been to court ever. It's just church, of course. Yes, I have.
Yeah. What was this thing? What was this thing over, by the way?
This is for back taxes for the city. I worked outside of the city in Wayland, and then I lived in Grand Rapids. And while I didn't realize there was a Grand Rapids tax, or I kind of did, I didn't really pay attention to it. Let's say that. And then I got a notice in the mail, and I just had so many things coming. It just had so many irons in the fire that people were just poking me to death, getting all my energy.
Yep.
And finally I was like, God damn, I can't catch up. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm never going to be able to live. This is just absolutely crazy. Every time I turn around, this is just absolutely madness. And
every time you turn, Rory, every time you turn around, you're encountering those things that you have placed in your path to show you the way. These are all creations. Exactly.
I want to go in peace. That has been the whole thing. I'm not a fucking fighter. I know I'm just not one. I'd rather frickin' hug and kiss and make love all damn day long. That's what I'd rather
unfortunately,
do.
you're in the 3D realm, which has the mirror. So that's great. I'm glad. I want to play all day too.
Right.
Like I really am tired of doing this. Like I am absolutely sickened about having to come on every night. But I'm going to do it because I have to.
I know, and I do. I'm getting the full brunt in view. I want to go properly in peace with my heart and with my intent. That's what I want to do. I want the right presence when I walk in there. I want to walk in there with not a pompous confidence, but a loving, caring. I don't know the word. I don't like to use the word.
Okay. Well, here I'm going to assure you of something. They don't. Okay. Yeah. These entities that you're playing with, the other points of our consciousness, quite frankly, don't grasp what you're talking about. They do grasp is truth to keep them bound to the immutable laws. And fraud is part of the immutable law setup. Okay, that's the golden rule. So I like invoking that one back, right? So here's just a suggestion for you. Did you ever get any names of the individuals from this Grand Rapids tax thing?
I can
trying to contact with you?
I did. Yep.
Oh, well, see, these are the people you need to start privately prosecuting. For aiding and abetting fraud, but you need to get the concepts in your head first, right? We can't deal in the dead. Okay, we cannot deal in the dead realms. That's okay. It's okay. I get it. I can feel your energy. Believe me. That's why I'm open to it. I'm being open.
I've been listening to this stuff for. You too. Jordan Maxwell's name comes up. I've been listening for a very long time, and. So I just want to, I guess how I'm looking at it is, I guess I got to save myself.
Yeah, well, here, let me, seeing as you brought this up, let me share it from the Kate perspective, the neutral observer. Okay, here's the individual that is one of the ones that woke everybody up to Admiralty law and what have you, yet is still trying to deal in a legal lawsuit and all the rest of it. What part of your own story did you miss, Jordan?
You broke up, honey. I didn't quite hear that.
Oh, what I'm asking is, Jordan, what part of Admiralty law that you were trying to expose did you fucking miss? You see? This is what I'm getting at with people, and they're still caught in the belligerence of the duality. Well, Admiralty law is all this and that and the other, but holy shit, someone took my stuff. And there was a contract in place prior to that, by the way. So I'm going to remain neutral on this. I have to. I will not pick a side, because I can see that both sides are right and both sides are wrong. It's really easy. It really is easy. Well, all I'm seeing is a drama unfolding between 2 points of consciousness that haven't got a fucking clue as to who they are. And I'm being quite blunt about it. They haven't got a clue as to who they are. If you knew who you were, and I'm going to speak to Jordan on this one, if you knew who you were, what are you doing getting lawyers and going to court and all the rest of this shit? I thought that was the illusion. I thought that was the fiction. And it is.
Yeah, I got something in the mail today, matter of fact. It's so funny. because I was telling Carl, I said, look at this. I said, I got something in the mail from the lawyer, which I would never hire one anyways. But I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, see, and there's presumption of legal name. You just told me that I got something in the mail, did you? Who got it? You didn't get it.
The legal name got something in the mail.
Yeah, the aiding and abetting into fraud was sent to your house.
Yeah,
trying
exactly.
to make you, right? But here's the other side of it, and the UPU was so incredibly important. My address is here. I live inside me. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, look, my address is now over here. Oh, no, wait a minute. It's over there. I have a stable address. I have no fixed address because I'm not fixed in a position in space and time. Conceptually, that's with the God. So there's lots of assumption and presumption, and the simple fact that someone was able, to use a legal name, send it through the UPU to get to a mailbox that you went to pick something out of, can it be assumed and presumed that there's still attachment to system there? All you got to do now is break that one mentally. You see, until we finally come to terms with the fact that this whole fiction game is fraud, you'll still play it and you'll still be, trapped in it. That's the Matrix. That's the joke. And look at how emotional we get. Look how emotional I've been in the past. Holy. Yeah. I had to work through some pretty serious highs and some pretty serious lows to get to this 0 point. But I have to contrast now. So the difference is, do you really know who you are? And while people still, and I'm being very general, when I talk, I'm not talking to anyone in particular. It's always third party with me. If there is anything that can tie you to the system that people are comfortable with, then they're still in the Matrix. This is not an easy game, boys and girls. It is a simple one. Big difference. It's a simple truth that we have the hardest time accepting. Right? That's part of the essay I'm working on right now. It's not the sharing of truth that's difficult. Getting it shared such a way that people actually look at them, accept them, as I have, that's the game. And day after day after day, I do the same thing, and I don't talk a lot of different. I really don't. I keep trying to say the same thing, just differently. Know thyself. And to know thyself is this. We know that the system is here as a test and a trap. Can we get pulled into the matrix, into the vortex of that? And the more we lean on the physical side of things, the more ensnared we are. Well, Kate, I don't want to lose my house. Well, Kate, I don't want to do this. Well, Kate, that's fine. And that's your choice. You see, that is your choice. Fuck all I can do about it. I've made mine, and I continue to make my choices based on my reality and experience, knowing full well that I'm here to save myself, and it is the strings that I have attached to me that I have to cut that no one else can. And when you cut them, these things don't appear anymore. It's like when you reach a different level in a video game, right? When you think of yourself as a game piece on a video game, this is how games work. The program is set up so that you, the player, are the virus within the game that all the parts of the game come to attack. They all hone in. That's the primary basis of every single video game. You are the virus that everything is geared to come at. So when you when you put yourself known in the grid, all of a sudden the gamers at that level, whatever the case may be, will come in as part of that system because they're automatons, basically. Soulless. Most of them are soulless, and they'll grind in at you because they're programmed to do that. Right? Their masters program them. They're just game piece programmed to attack the virus. I'm the virus. Okay. When I get to a certain level in the game, though, I pass by all of those attacking viruses to a new level. And when you go through enough levels, when you pass through enough levels, you get to the point where you're not even on the game grid anymore. That's when you know who you are. There is no scripting involved. Oh, granted, I have my moments, and I go, oh, nah, stop it. But I tell myself openly to stop. Oh, okay, that's I got to stay lateral. So then I go and check, and I always come back to the same basic things that kept me on this path along. Those are my stable datum. We all have our own. Mine happens to be the name and the birth certificate, and all of the realities experienced through that have confirmed everything I felt and knew. So I always resort back to that which I know. If I go back to the last thing you absolutely know, position yourself, stabilize yourself, and start looking at all the things that you know that prove that, and then all of a sudden you'll be in a different headspace. So now, as far as this thing tomorrow, whether you go or not, it's entirely up to you, my friend.
Right, I realize that.
Absolutely.
I realize. Yeah, I do want to go in. I want to go in peace, but it's not really a but. I don't really know what to say. I have to follow my heart, because I just do.
Well, here's the thing. What do you expect to happen? And there's where the problem lies. Have no expectations. Decide to have the experience.
Okay.
Have the experience of going in, or have the experience of not going in. There's the two paths you can go. You're going to get a different experience in a different timeline, but I'll tell you this right now. Based on the timelines that we're running right now, you're in a whole different world of walking in or not. It's not like it was 3 years ago that you didn't. And we had no knowledge of what we're talking about. Look where we're at in terms of knowledge now. We know the whole system's fraud. We know that judges and all the rest of these guys are a bunch of lying practitioners. Okay? That's the role playing in the movie. I don't have any vengeance towards them. I'm neutral on them. I'm looking at it going, and I've said this on shows in the past, I said, if you don't know who you are and you walk into a courtroom, then the judge will actually do to you what you ask for, based on the level of who you are. See, the reason why the judge bowed that wasn't because of what he knew I knew. He bowed because he got into script writing because he was afraid of what I might know. This is how we reverse the roles. And when you walk in with intent, and this even goes back to that solitary thing I was dealing with 7 trips into the court. I was a belligerent little shit. I always am, because I know where I stand. And I have no issues. What are you going to do? Throw me in a jail cell? Chain me or what? Oh, yeah, they've already done that. That's really fucking working for you, isn't it? I don't give a shit. I'm going to be the samurai warrior that I've already decided that I'm dead before I go into battle. That way I'm not worried about all the peripherals. I'm only focused on the job at hand. So I don't give a shit. That makes me really, really, really dangerous. I only am here to experience, observe the experience. Is it something I need? And a lot of the things that we talk of now, I don't need for these experiences any longer. So when you have an experience or something that is in your reality, then there's something within that you need to overcome within yourself to experience it. So why don't we all just decide to have whatever experience it is without expectation, just to see where that boat goes? Because the universe, my friend, will always have you, regardless. And this game is changing so quickly. This system is done. I don't know why people are worried about it. I really don't. These guys are in their final death throes of fiction land, and they know it. The house of cards that was built on the sand is coming down in fine fashion. Do you think yesterday we know more today? Yeah. Do you think the timelines have shifted in this positive way more since yesterday? Yeah. So every day what's happening is the collective all, based on this experience, and this was talking with Val and Lori earlier regarding world courts, I see what it is from an allegorical position in that there's another point of consciousness, although it's not where I want to be, it's still showing the pulling it up. Regardless of how far down I would deem it to be or how far up. It doesn't matter. It's only what I see from my perspective. But I do know this. It's changing. And it's changing in the direction that I'm calling it to change. That means I'm steering the ship now. And all I'm concerned with is knowing that I'm at the helm and that where I steer is where this game goes. You are the captain of your own ship. You are the only God in this universe that you are aware of. I'm just a figment of your imagination as you are mine. We are here to experience each other, experience ourselves, and we've taken on all the roles. I have no problem being a badass judge. Handing somebody a sentence because they thought they were going to be a smart-ass left-brainer and come in and think they can argue jurisdiction with me. Well, I already know that you're committing fraud and you're ignorant of the true law, the immutable universal law, and I'm going to hand something to you that might give you enough time or expense to think about it. The difference being is I'm doing it from a benevolent perspective. That is what I call the tough love. But I have to experience the tough love as well, and I have. I've had to go through a lot of things, and people have went through far worse than I. And for that, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything, good and bad, because I can pull what I need out of it. How did I explain it to you guys today, Val? It was taking like a bag of sand, dumping it on the table, and there's, a handful of pearls in it, and picking through the pearls to get the pearls of wisdom, putting those aside, scraping all the sand off the table because it's useless, and then we grab another bucket and do the same thing. And this is what we do at this table every night. We bring buckets of sand with pearls throughout it. And I would say we pick up one or two.
Yep. It's a sifting through the sand.
That phone call we had at the radio show. Yeah, go ahead, jump in.
Just a couple things that came to me, just a little bit of ammunition. Take a look at Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo. And I would also say Kate has a copy of the, and I have it right here, the law book.
Oh, Black Law Night?
The Black Law Dictionary. Terms in the paperwork as you go through it, Rory, that apply. If you can make a copy of that page so that they have it. These are things that have worked for me, where I'm able to show them factually. I've seen judges back up. I've seen lawyers walk out from stuff like this and not want to deal with these cases. What was my cases? So I'm telling you, back it up. If there are terms or anything that match that you can say, this comes from you. This is your stuff. So I'm telling you you get what I'm saying, that you're backing it up so that you have your ammunition, and it will give you more confidence as you walk in to stand in your truth. That's what's worked for me. So I'm just saying, as you make your decisions, just putting things out there,
Yeah,
and like
Rory,
I said, freedom of activism is good, as far as the tax situation.
Here's the question. Yeah, here's the question for Rory. At what point do you feel, like you said, you told him I'm the witness and all the rest of it. At what point do you feel, because I remember the post you made, that you felt that you let your guard down at one point. What was the defining moment?
Well, I was being rushed. Of course, they were all like 7 feet tall. Of course, they kind of rushed me in the kitchen. That was kind of unexpected, I guess. And I was thinking I was looking at my surroundings, and I remember not wanting to cause a scene, if you can imagine that. And it's like I just caved. It's the craziest thing, because I know damn well that name is legal. It's someone else's artwork, and it's not mine.
Yep, and I'll tell you, that's the ultimate test. It's one thing to say and know you're one thing, but can you stand in it, unrelenting? And I know people that have stood in it, were completely unrelenting, and were let go immediately. And this is the universe test of your mettle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. I'm glad that you're saying that, but do you really know it? And that's what universe is doing. You see, you're testing yourself. Do you really know this? Have you earned this level yet? So I'll tell you right now, if it were me, I would go in. I'd go in under a white flag, and if somebody asked me for a name, it says, I am the witness to the name fraud being perpetrated here. And if you have a birth certificate, and I have the evidence, prima facie evidence in my hand. Wait do you see how fast they marked you out?
Right. That's exactly, somebody sent me, the universe did. There was a past show that you had on, and I can't remember who the gentleman was. He was the one that was talking about the DNA you know what I mean? It was in the ground, and then that's how they time jumped that show.
Hey, yeah, that was Kurt Kallenbach. Yeah.
Yep. It was,
hey, Mark.
Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome show.
Can I just jump in?
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Kate, this is what I love about you. You know who you are. Santos, he knows who he is. Once you know who you are, you've busted their paper fictional bullshit. It's game over. But like you said, it's your crucifixion. Can you stand there? Do you really know who you are? Because once you do know who you are, it's paper, isn't it?
It's all paper. And speaking of which, we're going to roll over. Yeah, we're going to roll over in 10 minutes, Mark. Hold that thought and bring it right back. I just want to do the quick shout-out here. Sorry, just looked at the clock. 10 minutes to go here, guys. If you want to end the call, you can call at 661-467-2401. And, of course, for the rollover, you can Skype in as well. Just refresh the page on Blog Talk that you're listening to. Click the Skype button, follow your nose. It'll take you to the board. If you don't have a Blog Talk account, don't worry about it. If you have Facebook or Twitter or any other, you can sign in with that. That being said, we're going to roll over in just under 10 minutes, so if you want to hear the continuation, you have to call in, either through the phone or through Skype. And if not, you can wait for the archives. And a great thank you to Giuseppe at Lightwork Media and Zach as well for all of the work that they do constantly to keep these shows on the YouTube, to get it out to everyone. You see, these are the dominoes getting delivered, and everyone has their piece to play. So this is why I never want anyone to think less of themselves. Whether they're playing a background role doesn't matter, because they're right up front and center with their intent, and that's where you need to be. Great big thank you to Paul Giovanni at criticalmassradio.co.uk. and the rest of the crew there. And I'm going to include myself because I'm part of the team too, right? So as are you, all of you listening, and in being involved, listening and otherwise. Okay, so great big thank you. You know the routine. Anything anyone can do: donate, subscribe, intend. Great, thank you. Not one to beg. Sorry, just my nature. If you can flow anything to Bill Donahue, Sandro Bonacci, any of these world-changing individuals, please feel free. You've got Mr. Astrotheology or Santos.net. You can get, Santos.net.au, I believe it is, for Santos' website. If you can, he loves being helped when people grab his CDs. And for Bill, it's hiddenmeanings.com. Anything you guys can do to keep those flows going, because I got to tell you, those two guys, a handful of others, but those two in particular, have been instrumental in giving me a perspective that I can sit right in the middle of. I love them because I can sit right in the middle of both of them and see both sides of their coins. It's beautiful. So that being said, call in or not. It's up to you. Anyway, Mark, carry on with your thought, my friend.
Hello, Kate.
Or not. There you are. Go ahead.
Just got the kettle on the boil. Yeah, it's what film was I watching the other day? Star Wars. Obi-Wan Kenobi comes with Luke Skywalker to pick up with Han Solo, where he stands there and he says to the stormtroopers, "You do not need to search. We have nothing." And it's sort of reverse back to them. A bit like it reminded me of when Santos was telling me about when he was passing through the Italian airport, where the guy opened his bag and, oops. But Santos knew who he was.
It's a totally different reality. That's the magic of the Magic Kingdom.
Like I keep saying, I think, it is the key, and I have to top my hat off to you guys.
Well, we're just other points of your consciousness trying to show you that you're right. That's all. Everything I see just confirms that, oh yeah, I'm right. Now, is it ironic? Is it coincidental that I watched Saving Mr. Banks, which is the story of Mary Poppins, and the whole story around that, and of course it was the interaction between Tom Hanks, who played Walt Disney, and Emma Thompson, who played P.L. Travers. Also, her real name, Helen, what was it? Oh, what was her last name? It was Goff, Helen Goff. Yeah, Helen Goff. Isn't that funny? Go to Helen Goff. Anyway, as I was watching this, I'm listening for things as it pertains to my reality. This is why I really steer away from the literal and get people to see the things that resonate within their own experience. Because my experience is mine, yours is yours. We could sit and watch that movie together, and there will be very, very poignant things jumping out of the screen at you that won't jump out at me, but they will jump out at me. It's like the one discussion I had with Gigi ages back, where we both watched the same movie, and she was getting allegorical clues out of it that were nowhere even close to mine. But it was the same story with the same allegorical effects for both of us from completely different perspectives, yet it was telling us the same thing. So this time I'm trying to show people how to see the magic, because if we keep caught in the literal, we're caught in the emotions, we're caught in the dramas, we're caught in the vengeances, we're caught in all the bullshit in the Matrix, and you're not seeing the magic. It's when you see the magic, and it is magic. You were right. I assure you, as a child, you were absolutely right. You can fly, Peter. Okay? We just had it painted off our canvas for us. Right? Because we were told that we could not do something. The way back to being God is realizing that there are no rules outside of you, only those that you agree with, and they're the ones that bind you. That's it. Once you get there, this universe unfolds entirely different, where you've got Santo traveling through the Italian customs and it's not even there.
Okay, I find myself laughing a lot at it.
Good. That's what you should be doing. It's a good joke, isn't it?
It's hilarious, and the more I laugh at it, the more I see it is imploding.
Mhm. Here, let me go to Facebook and prove it. One sec. I haven't been there for a bit. And here's the other thing, too. It doesn't matter what we look at. People say, well, you should read this, and you should read that. And I have no rules. I'll just look at whatever I'm going to look at, and it's going to tell me everything I need anyway. So why do I put any stress into, well, I need to go on. People ask me, why have you read this? Have you done that? Well, no, not yet. If I get to it, great. If not, I'm just going to stay in the now. Let me see. Scrolling down. Yeah, I was talking today about this. You've seen this picture lately of the lady holding up the mirror to the cop. That was a postulate I put out in my universe a year and a half ago, where someone was talking about protest, and I says, the best protest would be, instead of standing there screaming and having your placards with, chemtrailing and all the rest of the shit, got all the riot police there. They don't give a shit. They're programmed. They're expecting that. They were told to expect that. What they're not expecting is to have to look at their own mug shots in a mirror reflecting back their own energy. So you go up to them with a mirror, silent, and just stand there. Let them see themselves. The most terrifying thing to anybody is being forced to look in their own mirror. Well, imagine this. The same way that you would have a pedophile having to look at, knowing that someone is looking at them while they're committing a heinous act against a child. Imagine them, what they would be like if they knew there was a camera, and there is. We're all consciousness. Nothing is hidden here, right? Imagine if they knew that there is no privacy, there's no private room, there's the illusion of it. But boy, what a difference that would be if all of a sudden, 5 or 6 people walked into the room and just stood around the bed. Do you think they would act the same way? Hell no. Because it's only in this privacy concept that people can commit crimes. They want to get away with it, so who's watching? So let's hold the mirrors up. Here, now you're watching. Now you're getting to see your own movie. Yeah, I got a minute and a half till we roll over, guys. So I want to keep that. So there's one example that was something I put out with regards to the Montreal protests happening a year and a half ago. And there was a reference today with the Purple People Eaters. Oh, here we go. I haven't seen this one yet. Kate, did I catch you hanging around Francis again? What was it? Shocking, there was no hellfire, Adam Eve. Real Pope Francis exposes. Now, here's the thing. People have come to me and said, well, that's not real. Yeah, it is. It's on my page. It's very real. Whether it happened or not, it's irrelevant to me. I can choose what I want in it. So Jorge's finally paying attention. That part of me is finally connecting and going, oh, I am talking, which is me. This is your power as well. I cannot stress this enough. I'm here to empower you back to godhood. That's what I'm here to empower myself back. So why wouldn't I want to help, right? Where was? Oh yeah, interesting here.
You have, Kate.
Oh, I'm stubborn Irish. That's all. I'll equate it to that. It's a Leo ascendant, actually. It's part of my design, and now that I know what it is, I know why I do it. It's an insatiable will to keep going. Good design. I came in with a good game plan.
It's the lighthouses out there, everyone.
All you got to do is be a lighthouse. Oh, here we go. Code of conduct of the Bar of Ireland. Lawyers are called devils. I haven't had a chance to look at it, Sheila, but great post. Isn't that funny that happens? Where was it?
Katie, it's
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hi, it's Gigi.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that voice. You've been away for too long.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. Is that Tinda?
That's Tinda. And you know what's funny? I looked at the Tibu China 7. That's you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at that going, I've seen that once before. But isn't it funny that it didn't even click with me that it was you? And then who did I just mention on the air about 5 minutes ago?
Gigi, I think, wasn't it?
It might have been what's good for the goose is good for the gander, the catch-22, maybe.
Could have been.
Yeah. How are you, hon? Good to hear your voice. It's been too long.
It's been too long, I know. Just doing a whole lot of healing. I've been really, I guess I was a lot sicker than I thought, but Sam is, as I said before, is a shaman and has been we do healing every day, and it's just really, really, really intense stuff. Apparently, he said that if I hadn't got help, like healing, he said that they programmed me so intent. Like he said, almost every inch of your body has been programmed. He said that they used me as for every MK Ultra program that was ever developed, whether it be with Joseph Mengele or whoever. That I was an experiment in every one of them, that they tortured me like beyond, he said he can't even believe. No, you see, I don't recall it because I guess my memory's been, blotted out, and but the trauma still exists, you see, so he's working on getting all this trauma out. And the interesting thing is that as the trauma is coming out through the healing, I'm able to, because I just said, look, I if I need to experience this trauma, allow me to do that, to process it so I can heal. And as he's I can literally feel his hands pulling these programs, these matrix programs out of me, and as they're being pulled out of me, I see the trauma, okay? I'm only allowed to see enough that I can handle. Some of it's pretty fucking, I can't even believe that I even went through it, but apparently I did. So, I guess that this whole thing with meeting Sam was likely very, very, very well orchestrated.
Well, again, your game is perfect. So I'm gonna step you back even further from it. What you have, and I've heard people talk about their experiences, and you'll hear people talk about alien abductions. They'll talk about MK Ultra, but all these different things, including what you're sharing. So let me share a different perspective. We are all experiencing the same movie from different experientials. Okay. It is not the experience. How do I put this? This is the coup de grace of the whole thing. Your experience is only your life path to see the allegories. It is not real. It feels real, and it wouldn't be a movie if it didn't feel real. But they are only the path that you took to your own awakening.
Yeah.
And are we going to be at effect to it, thinking that it is real or not? There's that Israel again. Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it real or not? This is a cosmic joke. Now, here's the best way for me to explain this. Has anyone ever watched those TV shows that have? Oh, do you remember Candid Camera?
Mm-hmm.
Shows like that.
I love it.
They have a bunch of different shows where the prank being played on someone. Okay, and here we are, the audience, watching this poor, sorry slob getting pranked. And do we think it's funny? Yeah, because we're observing the joke, not being it. So what is happening here in a fractal sense is that we are the joke. And there is a greater audience watching to see if we can figure that out, that we're being punked, that we're being pranked. How, I don't know, maybe they get pulled over. I wonder how really mad they're going to get. And when they figure it out, it's so funny. That's what this is. Are you going to keep falling for the same prank? Or are you going to, nice try, guys. You see, the thing is, if you're caught in it emotionally, you're God. You got God, right? Or are you going to look at it from the creator perspective? The only way we're going to experience bliss is to prank the shit out of ourselves to get to higher and higher levels of it. It's like, when you hear a joke for the first time, it's funny, and then there's some jokes that still make me chuckle. There are some that are out there because of their absolute truth in them, And I shared one last night. I don't know if you caught it last night, where I went 180 degrees. See, what laughter is a sudden realization of truth. It wasn't what you expected, but it was so true it made you laugh. Because you saw the complete 180-degree mirror image of what you thought. You were thinking up, and it went down. It's like a good example in the movie Saving Mr. Banks, the one I just watched. They were doing the spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Mm-hmm. What they did was, and it was another confirmation of the allegory here, was a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So, you see how we went up on down? You see? It's ironic. Yeah, it is. It's all ironic. Are we not in the Iron Age? Yes? Something about iron. Iron IC? So when we take our game so seriously, when we get so wrapped up in our experience, that's where we're being pranked. Can we get past it? And only those things that have affected us can we agree affected us. I'll tell you, they could an external force put 1,000 implants, and who knows if they did or not. I don't give a shit because I'm just not going to agree with it. I'm going to step beyond it. That is the healer within self, right? And if we are in need of externals, they show up. And I'm sure Sam's a sweetie. You better be getting laid too.
Oh, more than that.
There you go. So it's good. Good game.
Hey, Shane. Shane just got out.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's crazy fun. Yeah. Well,
yeah, welcome to Katie's show, right? So yeah, we don't miss a beat at this table.
I know you don't at all. But you're right about that because the thing is talking about all of this fear and how to walk it out and finding the balance in everything, and as Sam is sort of explaining these things to me, what's coming out of me, I'm going, well, absolutely, because I guess, if we want to see bliss, as you said, we have to see the dark. You cannot see one without the other. And so, to me, this game is over, and all the shit that I've gone through is done. It doesn't even matter anymore because it was for a purpose, for a reason, and it was to see the other side of it. And, when is it Rory that's going into court tomorrow? Is that who it is?
Yep. Correct.
Yeah. As you were talking and saying, whether you were thinking about going in or not, I heard this really great analogy, I guess. It talked about fear, and it says, that when an animal gets attacked or bit, or attacked by a predator, the normal reaction, of course, is to pull away and to run, because, well, who wouldn't? But what happens is, in being the year of the horse, and my Chinese sign is a horse, it was kind of one of those breadcrumbs for me. What they said is that when a horse is attacked or bitten, what it does is it does not run from the pain. What it does is it presses into it, okay? As in, Katie, you're always saying, fear is about contract. Well, because you're contracting, okay? You're contracting. When you push into your fear, this is when the other animal responds to it. What happens, you're just doing the exact same thing that the animal is doing to you, except you're reversing it, okay? So now you're attacking the attacker. But you have to be bold. Sorry?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is the opposite of contract or contracting?
Retract?
No, expand.
Oh.
You have contraction and expansion. So, okay, let's play with this for a second, shall we? Let's go phonics on this, because Katie always goes fucking phonics on everybody. I'm going to get all phonics on your ass. Okay, here we go. We have the contract, right? Land. Tract is land, okay, so it's very physical. But contract, let's look at the word expand. So if we contract, we are pulling in, and we are at effect. Contracting is all about being at effect. Expanding is all about being cause. So let's look at X, which is key, which is life, which is IO, which is the Roman numeral 10, which is, how many more layers do you guys want? The key? Okay, let's go with key then. It's the key. It is the key where your mind is parked, your ship. So there's the X, just the X sound. What does pan mean? Well, pan means to go across, as in pan determined, cross determination, right? But you also have the rho, P, and the A, which is the yin in the mirror, which is the light made dark. So you've got some creation ability, spirit breath, rho, to create in that, and you make it mine with the N. And of course, D is the fourth letter, which is the box of the trinity of the delta, right? So when you expand, what you're doing is creating a new reality. You're creating a new box, delta, if you will. You're going across it. You're taking your life across it. So that's when that horse rears into it. That's what it's doing. Is it's taking that what instead of pulling away from it in fear, it is confronting it head on, taking its own expansion ability, its own body mass to crush it. And that's where we all need to learn to be the horse. I think is it pronounced horse or horse? I guess it could be pronounced any way you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about the ho, ro, se? How about the H, which is eta, God? The O, which is creation, R, which is ro, spirit breath, and the S, divine feminine, E is the yang, which is the light made dark. So you've got another creational void to happen in. Or we can go with the himself, herself, itself with the horse, se. We also have ors, auras, auras. H can be silent.
What about the capital H? You talked about that yesterday, didn't you?
That's Ida, the Greek letter, the seventh letter of the Greek alphabet, Ida, which is God, the seventh number. And look what we've done in the Western alphabet. We've removed the H from its number 7 position, and what was put in its place? Let me see. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What's the Masonic symbol?
G, capital G.
Do you think someone might have hijacked our reality based on one letter? I would say so, because that's creation stopped on one side only. I'll tell you something else with regards to that. The G can also be an S, a K, a C, or an F.
Well, you know what?
Track down some of these letters once in a while, and you'll see the G is the newest letter in the Western alphabet. Go ahead.
But it's true, because remember when I did that allegory on G, because my name is GGA, with the V on the top, the V on the bottom, and so what happened there was that they used that G to capture the power of the K, C, S, and F. Okay, because G replaced, G was 7, right? G was the 7th letter, right? But H used to be. Okay, but now what happened is G took the place of H, making it the 7th letter, and H now became the 8, which is infinity. Now they used this as magic, you see, because they took the G, which is the only reason I can understand this is because I'm the GG. Okay, so the 33rd degree Mason took the G aspect and made it infinite. And look at the letters it represents. K, C, S as in Sam, F as in Frank. Well, you throw a U in there and you got fucks. F-U-C-K-S. Well, what is that? Love. You and Santos always talk about cunt and fuck, right? So they took the orgasmic or the G spot or the G of the alphabet. They used the K, C, S, and F and the power of those letters as well and made it infinite. Well, understanding this and knowing the magic in it, and I'm breaking the spell right now by telling you, is that I'm the G. Not only am I the G, I'm the GG. I'm claiming all of that power back. So that infinite power that they've used to create their dark magic, I'm claiming it now and taking it back. And this is just reversing out of here. It's just that 8 new beginnings and infinite. So now I just take it back.
Yeah, I'm just I'm scrolling to a point in the movie here that I'm going to show you how I watch my allegories and how real this is. Okay, now the young Helen Goff, P.L. Travers, who wrote Mary Poppins books, I highly recommend everyone to watch this. And when I look at, there's one scene, it's all through it, but here's one in particular that really caught my eye, because I'm looking for what is resonant in the effect physical with my creation spiritual. So there's one scene where she's stopping in front of, they're getting ready to leave their home to go to a new home, and they're at the train station, and there is a sign with all the different stops and how long it takes. So here we go. Let me just go down the list here for a second, and I was going to share you. See if you think this might resonate with me. Okay, where was it? Okay, North Pine, one of the stops. Brisbane, okay. Now Brisbane matters to me because I see that all the time on my travels, going back and forth to see Vicky. Victoria, Victory, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Pine, the Pine family in Gravity Falls, and then there's Ips, Witch, IPS, Witch, of course, keeps going. And then there's Laguna, and of course the ones that really hit with me. Right at the bottom was Kate's. And what is the number? Oh, it's 323 miles. 323 comes up with me all the time. That's actually the time of birth of my oldest daughter, 3:23 p.m. And of course, the last stop before the end of the line is Allora, and that's where they're going. Now, Allora, or Allure, means then. Now for then, end of line. Kate's, now for then, end of line. Now go ahead, tell me if this movie isn't over. I dare you.
Yeah.
Now hen done is 321 miles, which is, there's your 3, 2, 1. Oh, how long does it take? Let me see. What is that? Looks like 16 hours, 9 minutes. So there's 7, which is God. Horus, hours. God, Horus. 9 minutes. So there's consciousness. Allura, 325 miles. 16 hours, 15 minutes. Does 15 come up in my game much? Yeah, like only all the time. But here's the last 3 stops. Hendon, Eights, Alora, end of line. The he, mine, is done. Spirit of love, Kati, Kate. Alora, then. I also thought of agora, which is Portuguese for now. Agora. Alora, agora, right? End of line. So Kate, then, now for then, end of line. So that's just what. This is how I observe everything. And when people get caught up in their literal experiences, they are just manifesting more of the same dramas, puking the same dramas over and over, and missing their real story, the one that I'm looking at between the lines. I see GG all the time when I'm traveling. I see a truck with GIGG. I also see trucks with bison, which is twin sons, right? And Mike, that I travel with on occasion, I love traveling with him because we have very similar paths, a lot of resonance, and we bounce off each other in that regard. Like, it's just crazy. And it's beautiful. And this is all I want people to see, the majestic nature of the Magic Kingdom. And go figure that the whole game was to get the writer of Mary Poppins, who was very stiff, to get her to the Magic Kingdom. And at the end of the movie, of course she got there. Of course she finally let go of a lot of things. If you watch it from an allegorical position, this movie, any movie actually, but this one's just, you know how I get about certain ones that really lay it out in full color, that you cannot miss it. If you miss it, you miss it. You know?
Wow, that was beautiful, Katie. It's just so true.
And, oh, by the way, what? Now, I'm just going to come on here. She's looking at the end of the line. Her dad's calling her. And they get on the train, and she's standing at the very back of the train in the caboose, or I wouldn't say caboose, the passenger car. And I'm going to ask everybody, what do you think the number of that car is? Take a wild guess.
9.
Very good, but it was in the form of 18.
Ah, end of an era. 9 is the end of an era.
Right? And the train is pulling away, leaving everything behind, and it's car number 18, and there's the divine feminine finally moving away. I mentioned earlier about Dean Clifford and his role. It's not what he's doing in the system. I'm looking at his representation, the role he's playing as it plays out in my story. Book of Eli. Key line in that was, stay the course, it's not my concern. Stay the course, it's not my concern. Don't get involved with others' dramas. Observe from a neutral position as to how it applies to you, and only to you, because you need to get really fucking selfish on this. Because when you get selfish to the degree that you are finally taking care of your own stuff, you are finally being selfless, because if but one shall awaken, you're it. When you awaken, all awaken. Why do you think I'm so focused on awakening myself? And I share my points of consciousness with all of you. And as we see these things together, as we are the one mind, remember, so we're just different points of the same mind, resonating on the same ideas, are we not becoming the dominant frequency, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, is the world changing because of it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really quick, too.
Yeah, exponentially. And you know, the last time the last time I was on, I know it was like over a month ago, and I remember I was talking about the Atessa 3 and Sam coming in, and that we were going down there. Well, what happened is after I phoned both the Washingtons, Kyle and Dennis, what happened is I guess they phoned the cops. I think I Skyped you about this, Katie. I think I told you a little bit about it.
Yeah, you did mention that. I was kind of wondering what happened after that. You left me on a cliffhanger.
I know. I kind of got into this healing thing, and it's just I'm coming out of it now. But what happened was, I guess, because of the content of my message to them, they phoned the RCMP in North Vancouver. So this was just after I was on the show. A couple hours later, Maureen comes down with these two cops behind her, these two RCMP, and they come in, of course, and they start to question me, and they said, because I signed my name Goosey Gander on the message, so they asked me what my name was, and I said, well, the name that you probably want. But I just went through the whole spiel. I won't go into it. You know what I said, eh? I mean, I was really spot on this stuff, eh? Well, the first RCMP guy looks at me, and he's kind of looking at me funny, and he goes, I know you from somewhere. I've seen you before. I recognize you. And I'm going, oh, shit. Like, this is all I need, eh? So he goes, weren't you out in front of the RCMP office a few weeks ago handing out documents? Now, this is the day that I ran into that RCMP guy who talked about free men on the land, eh? He was the guy that walked ahead and was in such a bad mood. And I knew he was not going to be at all open to what I was saying. He just walked right on by me. Well, this is the RCMP guy, right? And I said, oh, yeah. And I told him the whole, I said, I know who you are now. Well, what happened was the Washingtons called, made a report. They said, now, the funny thing is that this cop is smiling from arsehole to breakfast, okay? He's like a Cheshire cat. He is happy. He's looking at me. He's just like, he says, this complaint, I just don't see you as being the type of person that would go on a ship and take it over. He says, you are a very peaceful person, aren't you? And I'm going, yeah. I am. He goes, you are not the kind of person that would go on that ship and take it over now, are you? And I go, no, not at all. He goes, I know, I can tell looking at you. Well, this thing was just hilarious. I mean, here's two cops. They're convincing me that I'm innocent. Like, what the hell is that about?
No, they're convincing each other that they're wasting their time. But that's the power of knowing who you are. It's like when you gave it away, he said, I know who you are. And I would have answered, yeah, I know who I am, too. I'm glad we can agree on that.
Well, it kind of went that way because when he came to... What's that?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, you had me at I know who you are.
Well, the funny thing is...
Yours too. Sorry, hon. Go ahead. We've got a bit of a time lag here.
Oh, yeah. The funny thing is that I was taken aback because I didn't know that they were coming. So what I had to do is just sit in the moment, like ghosting in that movie. I just sit and just get focused. And I knew in the instant why they were there as soon as I saw them. So I just went, okay, you know who you are and stand in it. And you know what? It was really interesting because these guys wanted me to tell them about Kate, about your document, okay? What I said is I went through why I am talking about a ship to begin with, what ship means, mind, and I said to them, look, you guys, you can't get my name from me, and I know you want my name. And I said, do you maybe wonder why? And I said, just think about this for a minute. I said, do you ever wonder why when you're in your training, that they insist that you get the name, okay? The name. I said, tell me I'm wrong. I said, is this not what you are programmed to get? And they go, yeah. And I said, do you ever maybe wonder why that might be? And I started explaining it to them. And these guys Katie, you just cannot believe they were just like eating out of my hand. And at the end of it all, the first RCMP guy said to me, he said, I really thank you for taking the time to explain this to me. He says, I've never heard the explanation of a ship explained the way that you've explained it to me. And he said, by the way, he says, do you happen to have any of those documents? No, I'm packed up because Sam's coming the next day, right? Now, I have always got your documents either in my purse. Now, I packed most of them away, but I did keep about 3 of them. What are the chances? I even actually knew where they were. I said, I do. I said, I have a document. I'll give each one of you a document. Well, I handed them each the document. They both shook my hand. They were so grateful. I'm telling you, the tables absolutely turned because I even said to them, I said, you know what, you're going to ask me for my birth date next, aren't you? And I said, you know what my answer is? I said, I don't know. I don't know when I was born because you know what, I was an infant. I don't remember dates. How the hell would I know when I was born? And I said, I know that's your next question, isn't it? And they go, yeah. And I said, why do I know? Because I know your shtick and I know your programming. It was absolutely beautifully played out, I've got to tell you. And the next day, Sam came in, and I said to him, look, I said, you see the whole thing now. I did a gematria on Sam Pollock's name, okay? Do you want to hear something real funny? Remember I was talking about Jolly Roger and the flag, eh? Okay, the Jolly Roger flag, but the pirates and the skull and bones and all that shit, eh? Well, I put in Samuel Pollock into gematria. The same numerical value for the word Jolly Roger comes up. Now, what are the chances that when I sent that message into
100%.
Because my message to the Washingtons was, I know about the Jolly Roger. I am claiming Jolly Roger now. And I said, Sam Pollock and I will be down tomorrow to the Atessa 3 to take over, and I want no interference. Well, what happened is, of course, this is all planned out. We're programmed to get in here. We're programmed to get out of the matrix. So, my programming is spot on right now, okay? So I didn't even know. It's just crazy how this whole thing worked out. Okay, so they knew that if I was coming down with Sam Pollock the next day, which was a power day, it was an 11/22/33 power day, because I had mentioned before on the show, I said tomorrow's going to be a big day somehow. I don't know how it's all going to manifest, but I'll tell you how it did manifest. Sam and I go down to the dock on the next day after I had sent these messages to the Washingtons, and now, Atessa 3 has been moored at Lonsdale Quay for months and months and months and months. It's an icon. It has never moved. It's one of C-SPAN's mooring places, okay? It's an icon. It's never fucking moved in months. I would even go by saying over a year, okay? I go down, Sam and I said, we got to go down here for some reason. I said, let's go park. We go, he said, where is it? And I go, holy shit, it's gone. They knew I was coming.
Yeah, again, and there's the power of the divine, and look what you manifest. Now, I just want to go through a little thing with everyone here. This will be a test of your own ability to see if you are being literal or if you are being allegorical and actually know who you are. So I'm going to use it, and I want anyone can jump in. I want to know if this is someone caught in the literal or someone that is actually seeing the allegorical and beginning, if not already knowing who they are, beginning to know who they are. So here's the headline. I'm going to read out some of the responses, not who responded, but I want to read out the answers, and you tell me, and I already know, based on what I've looked at, what I think, but I want to see if you can spot these things. So here's the headline: Police State versus Citizen. Officers get caught, harassment, abuse, misconduct, profiling. Okay, it's a picture of a young lady wearing usually a law enforcement officer for the purpose of deceiving someone uniform. Okay? So there's the headline: Police State versus Citizen. If you take it literally, you've got officers get caught, harassment, abuse, misconduct, profiling. So here are some of the responses. Now, I want you to tell me if this is an individual that knows who they are or beginning to know who they are, or someone that is completely stuck in the matrix in the fist mode. Or better yet, dead carrying out the dead, right? So let's see who's holding the light here. The first response was, if you're still carrying ID, you're bringing the stress on yourself.
They know who they are.
Fist fight, hold the light, or carry out the dead. Which one?
Hold the light.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Okay, 2. Here's the next one. We've got work to do.
Fist fight.
That's a bit between fist fight and hold the light. Yes. Okay.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
So here's another one. We need to inform our brothers and sisters in uniform. If you are still carrying ID, you don't know yourself well enough to educate these fraudsters, and you will continue to be harassed.
Hold the light.
Hold the
That's
light.
a light.
Yeah.
That's a hold the light. The next one is, learn from the uniformed punks. Just keep quiet when questioned. That's an easy one. Come on.
Hold the light.
So let's hold the light. Hold the light.
No. Listen to it again. Learn from the uniformed punks. Just keep quiet when questioned.
Fist fight.
Oh,
No,
that's as fist fight as they come.
Yeah, that's a fight.
It's like, punks. Yeah, no judgment in calling someone a punk, right? Anyway, here we go. Here's another one. I watched this again. I watched this and again, actually. right on, brother. We need to stop dialoguing ourselves into their fiction. Handing over ID shows them you're a player in the game. Simple. There's much more to it, but these simple steps help. Think about why you have to carry it. It's a big why that adds the lie. There's a light.
The light.
The light, yeah, that's
Here's another one. Yeah, you start to see the ratios here? Yeah, the name is Crown-owned. Let them know. End the fraud. Expose unclean hands.
Holding the light.
That's holding the light. Okay? So there you go. There's just, this isn't, if you start observing others as you and how you are reacting through them. Are they holding the light? Are they fist fighting? Or are they still carrying out the dead? Are they still caught totally in the matrix? On the page, you won't find too many carry out the deads, I promise you. But you will find a smattering of fist fighters, but the vast majority are holding the light. So this is how I look at just the shifting. I don't look at it, it's like, where am I at right now? I have no idea how many friends I'm at. And it's not, they're my friends, oh my God, look how special I am, I'm super. No, it's about how much of the consciousness is finally awakening. Here I am at 4,274. Okay? And that has been going up rather exponentially. Right? It was what? 3 weeks ago I was looking for 4,000?
Wow.
See what I'm saying? It's going exponential. Okay, so that to me is showing how many, and for every lighthouse that shows up at this table and on Facebook or wherever they contact me, Skype or otherwise, every lighthouse that shows up, I know there's 10,000 minds that come with them owned by that lighthouse. Go ahead, tell me we haven't got the game. I dare you. I already know we do, and I'm watching the confirmations. That's all I do. I look for confirmations of what I'm causing. I see the effects that I create through my causal thinking. When we go through the game in this movie, foreshadowing for ourselves, well, that's what foreshadowing is. It's a foreshadowing of things to come. So start looking at what you're intending, and those are going to be the things that you're foreshadowing and you are manifesting. Foreshadowing is simply the causal intent as it manifests later. Beautiful movie for watching the foreshadowing because it's all over the place. Like, all over the place. Everything they talk about in the beginning of the movie happens to them. Okay? As in the movie The Hangover. Beyond being a gut-wrenching laugh fest, it really is. It has every character in our movie in it at all levels. It's incredible. And when you start looking at it with your God eyes, you'll see these things. And you'll start going, oh my me. Constantly. Oh, another contact just showed up while we were talking. I've had about 15 during the show. See what I mean? So where are we at here? Where are we at? We still got about 20-something minutes left here, guys. So what's on your mind? Start sharing. Let's hear it.
I guess, Kate, I guess I'm thinking, that the baby steps, I guess that's where I got confused. I thought I was going to go in like all head. I am going in all head first for sure. But I had been thinking I will show up as the witness, but I was worried about that. I was going to script. I didn't want to script anything. My intent is to expose the fraud along with everybody else. Has always been to expose that fraud of the name, and that I think we all can agree on.
Do you want a paradigm shift?
Yeah.
Here's a paradigm shift. When we go into court, we are going into, typically, by design, by program, to defend ourselves, that we have done something wrong and trying to make somebody aware of it. How about you go in with this perspective for a change? How about you go in with, these people really need my help?
Mhm.
Be the light. Dare to be the white flag bearer of peace. Do not go in seeking to prove your case. No. You know it's all bullshit. You know it's all bullshit.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know it's all bullshit. I know it's all bullshit.
So we go in with a perspective of, look at these poor sleepy bastards that we came to save in that regard. That's the part of our consciousness that we need to awaken. Not beat the shit out of. Listen, are you going to walk around with a Louisville Slugger for 5-year-old retarded kids to beat them to death or what? Not very loving, is it?
No.
And you know what? Remember, Katie, that video of that guy, that hillbilly kind of guy that was, where the Jolly Roger was talked about, that flag, eh? That guy who stood in his, Rory should watch that, because that really empowers people. Like, he just absolutely unequivocally knew who he was, and actually when I watched it, it gave me a sense of my own power. And you know,
well,
I think
hang on. He sort of almost kind of came close to knowing who he was. He knew how to stand in his power, but quite frankly, I did see it, and it was a very empowering video. If you're at that level of the game, we are far and way beyond that. What this guy was trying to do was still try to do statutes and constitutionals and all the rest of the fucking nonsense. He didn't know that he was committing fraud by using that name. He still didn't know who he was. And the only time you can reclaim that name as lawful is when you understand that all things legal have nothing to do with you.
It wasn't
so in
the
mirror with him.
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from. He had the right intention with all the wrong info. Yeah,
that's okay.
Get rid
you
of
know
the
what?
paper.
I'm talking about the energy. Like, this guy, regardless of what his words were, he believed. Okay, his intent. That's what we're talking about here. Is just simply intent. And how I viewed it was.
And they still, Gigi, they still came and grabbed his sorry ass. Okay, they still threw him in jail because he didn't know who he was.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. They arrested him. Yes, they did.
Did he go back to court?
And they took him out of court with cuffs.
Kate, didn't he go back to court himself?
Yeah, idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
He walked right back into the dragon's den and said, "Oh, I'll have some more of that because I didn't have enough the first time."
Yeah, so make sure you handcuff me and make me look like an idiot again. And no harm to the guy. I get what he's saying, but listen, I'll tell you, that was recent. Did he not notice a certain video 3 years ago called Judge Bows to Sovereign and that shit don't fly?
Like you just said, Kate, he was still arguing paper. If you argue paper, they'll argue paper with you all day long till the cows come home.
Yeah, not once during that Judge Bows day did I argue any statute or any fiction bullshit.
No, you just questioned who he was, Kate, and he, in the end, he worked out that he worked out that you knew what he knew, that you knew.
Well, like I said, I looked at him square in the eyes, and the only thought in my head was, I know that you know that I know who I am. Let's fucking party.
Let's bring it on.
Bring it on, bitch. And I tell you, the only thing that I went in to do that day was to clarify a mistake, and that was it. They tried to serve me 3 times and failed. I've got 2 of them on video. One where a bailiff that actually knew me because my daughters played on the soccer team that he was assistant coach for 2 years, that I actually helped out with every week. Yeah, Steve. Yeah, remember, we talked many times, and here's a guy that knew me personally for a couple of years and couldn't serve me in my own fucking driveway. Oh, there's a big hint. Okay, and then he called in for 2, the previous one to that was a couple of baby cops, by law enforcement impersonators that showed up, and they didn't even have the paperwork filled out, morons. But anyway, and then Steve ends up calling in 2 other of his fellow cops from the Guelph City Police Services. Right, service indeed, and they ended up. The one cop ended up serving a rock on my front lawn. So I went in. If you watch that video again, there was no arguing of any statutes. There was no arguing of any jurisdiction. The only claim I made was, sure, it's lawful. And I didn't say legal. I said it's lawful. I claimed, jurisdiction when I got here. There's nothing else he could say. And that's when the judge finally, when I turned to the third bailiff after owning the first two, as soon as I had this other little wanker by acquiescence, the silence, that's when Robo Judge got up and ran, because I owned all three of his bailiffs and he knew it. And the one sniveling little coward, and I love saying this because it's fun to say, sniveling little coward that was sitting behind the bar where he tucked his tail and sat there like a good little dog. The other two that were standing beside me on each side, they brought those two in for me, just for me.
Kate?
Yeah.
Which one in that courtroom got it first? Was it the bailiff?
The one sitting down, the sniveling little coward behind the bar.
Oh, yeah.
He was the guy that you probably heard my hat audio clip. I've played it on the show a few times. That was the first encounter at just before the court opened, and you hear that ding, ding, ding of the court opening, and then the little interaction between me and him at the door while he was standing outside of my jurisdiction, while I was standing inside owning the courtroom. He was doing everything in his power, even to the point of, do I have to remove you? And I said, well, that'd be assault. You want to knock yourself out? Knock yourself out. You'd be assaulting a court official. It was my court, and he knew it. And I wasn't going to yield on it. And I said, what, are you afraid of witnesses? Lots of those here. There's that word again. Witnesses. Funny how all this stuff turns around full circle, isn't it?
No,
it took me 2.5 years to decipher it.
Yeah, well, I think the guy, like, I see like your situation, Kate, as being a real, you had the facts, you knew what you were doing, you stood in your truth. This other guy, the contrast or the similarity and the bringing together of the two is that this other guy, even though he didn't have the correct lingo and everything else, or he just maybe didn't have it all together in that context, his intent was what really, really stood out for me, in that, he just didn't allow her to take control. And that's what I'm thinking in terms of Rory going in tomorrow. It's just, just stand, be strong, 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 like this guy was. I mean, that's just the contrast that I see between the two.
Didn't he come across quite aggressive?
He stood his ground. He just stood his ground,
I think sometimes don't you get more respect?
He was belligerent. I mean,
Kate, when somebody, it's all about respect, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he was like a bit of a terrier, wasn't he? He was like,
yeah, but they're dogs, so you've got to be a dog back.
Hang on.
No, you rise above them.
You rise above.
Bollocks
okay, can I the real example of what he did. Hang on, Gigi. Let me just lay out what hillbilly Dopey did. Okay? He walked in intellectually fucking brilliant, and the left mind didn't have a fucking clue as to who he was. He was arguing all sorts of stuff that proved that he did not know who he was. He was dealing Constitution. He was dealing statute. He was dealing this. He was dealing that. Now, we're standing on the other side of the courtroom, in the lawful side, knowing that, well, those that don't apply to us, but those that have consented to it and have sworn an oath to it, well, by all means, those that make the rules must obey them. So if you want to live in the dead realm and suffer the penalties of your idiocy, then by all means, I'm just going to show it to you and shove it to you lawfully in peace. I am not going to decide for you. No, the hillbilly guy, no harm to him. Valiant effort, and I looked at it going, yeah, there's a guy that, and I'm listening to it the whole time going, oh my God, fist fight, intellectual, left brain, you might as well be a dopey lawyer like the rest of them. He was so stuck in the matrix, thinking that he could solve it legally. How many people do you know try to solve stuff legally, and they get their ass handed to them, even more so now, because of all the layers of deception that have been removed, that the system is forced now to stay in honor on a hair.
He sounded like a lawyer, Kate.
Oh, he was pretending to be one. He was practicing law too.
See, I didn't even really listen to the content of what he was saying. I just really want to bring it back to the only thing that I saw. And the power that I got from him is that it doesn't matter in my what I saw is that it didn't matter what he said because his intent was so fucking strong that it almost
and it got him arrested. It got him arrested. This is the point I'm not going to let you defend that fucking monkey chattering left moron.
I loved him. I really did. I thought he was just wild.
Yeah, but you didn't see the other video when he's getting picked up out of his chair in a little fucking 5-year-old retarded child that needs to lose the fucker in the head.
The best thing in that video was when he got in the truck and he zoomed off.
Mike, that's
oh my goodness! Oh no! Oh, come on, give him a little credit.
I thought he was just. I love him. I thought he was. So simple.
Hey, you burst the bubble.
I know. I've given him credit. I gave him credit for a valiant effort. Now go and figure out who you are. And then the video came in. He got his ass arrested. And you still don't get it. Okay. I gave him his due, and then I gave him his due back.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done now.
I get what you're saying with the intent. Yeah, he went in with the right intent. He just went in with the brain wrong info. That's all.
Bad attitude.
He guarantee look at the video where he gets carried out, and tell me you don't see a 5-year-old kid going, "Well, fuck you. I don't like you anymore. You're not my mom anymore." Seriously.
What's wrong with that?
Right, I tell you, the day I walked out of that courtroom, I didn't look back. We went over and had some fries and a beer and I think some other stuff on a patio overlooking the courthouse, and we watched all the cops run around spinning out like the idiots they were. They didn't know whether they were supposed to board. And we were standing having a beer, like, oh, so much for that, eh? Here, yeah, I'll take an order of fries, thanks. We didn't care. And I parked my truck out front and I left it there. And I didn't put any money in the meter. Do you think I got a ticket that day? No. Right in front of the courthouse. That's fucking not getting a dime out of me. Yeah, you want to give me a parking ticket? Please, give me one. And that's a joke about the whole thing, guys. There was no ticket at all. There was nothing. Yeah. They decided to challenge me. That was it. They used some excuse, made up this parking ticket thing that I never saw. Apparently, if you get a parking ticket, it's real, but there wasn't one. This is what I've been trying to say for years. They make this shit up as they go, and this is the universe testing you. Can you deal with it? Can you get out of the literal, see the allegorical, and escape this matrix? Yes, I can, and I'm trying to help others to see the same.
It's the only way you can escape is to see the allegory, because that's where the magic is. And if you stay in the literal, you'll totally miss it. Mm-hmm. It's the magic that gets you out of here.
Yeah, and the quickest, easiest way to the magic is understand the purple people, the Phoenicians, the phonics, the sound, everything in the universe based on sound, including light. Light is simply a higher frequency of sound. That's it. Are we having fun? I'm having a great time. Thanks, Jeez. That was awesome. You give me a chance to come out with some colorful expletives. That's why I'm trying to be original here and get a chuckle. I need people laughing. Right? No harm to Hillbilly Jack. I really have no issue with him.
You do so.
No, I don't. Just another point of view that needs a sorry ass waking up. That's all.
Asshole.
Oh. I totally am, and I'm going to show you how. Here, I'm going to tell you how beautiful an asshole is. You ready for this? How about the A, which is the yin? That's light made dark, the dark made light. How about the the Isis? So the dark made light, Isis. H, there's God. O, creation. L, the power of intent. Into the yang of the dark, the light made dark. Yeah, I'm an asshole.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Absolutely. Here's the joy of this. I can call anybody anything I want, and my intention is neutral because it means both things. How are you translating the allegory? Are you surprised, or can you see both at the same time? I just see both at the same time. I'm funny.
Laugh about it. Everybody gets so bloody uptight about stuff, eh? And, we have to laugh our way out of this shit. We do.
Lighten up. Yeah. Lighten up. Literally, allegorically, and figuratively.
It's a hoot. And I love the hillbilly. You think he was
loved him too. I thought it was great. Mark, I have to agree with you. I particularly loved the way he just said, "Get out of here." You know, it was a beautiful ending to ride off into the sunset. Except he came back.
He was like a Taurus the bull. That's why I liked him. He was just in there like a dirty shirt. Didn't give a shit about anything.
It's all about
Yeah. Well, sir, listen, I don't respect anybody that needs to be right. Oh, I'm American. Fuck you. I'm Constitution. I'm right. Yeah, sure you are. Yeah, nice cuffs. They fit tight, eh? Careful, you get too belligerent, they'll actually cut your wrists with them. You know, it's all good. I look back over my experiences, and I have nothing but gratitude because look what it... Do you table? Do you like hanging out here? Well, it's because of all my experiences table that I'm at it. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great thing, personally. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree.
Kate, I was often taught that when you want to better yourself in sport, for example, if you play with better people, you become a better player.
Yep. Well, you're not going to become better within yourself if you're not challenging yourself, and that's what this game's all about. Look for the challenges, and Rory, you've got one coming tomorrow, and I wouldn't even call it a challenge. But when you go in with the mindset of, I'm here to help you, instead of, I'm here to defend myself because of all the bullshit, different intent. And the universe walks with you. Remember that. You are the universe. Why would...
Take all of Kate's brilliant work in and hand them out. And say to everybody, have a read of this, come back in an hour, and we'll just deal with this little problem, and I'll be off.
Yeah,
Cheers.
And regardless of whatever is going to, perceive to be going to happen, which it hasn't happened because you're not there, that lateral timeline hasn't shifted. But I'll tell you this right now, if you go in with the attitude that the universe gave you an open door with which to plant seeds, go plant seeds. Holy shit, you've been given a garden. Walk in, seriously, walk in tomorrow, take a handful of stuff, and just start handing it around the courtroom. How
you
about
come with it?
Yeah, did you know you were a criminal? Just start handing it all out. Better yet, I don't know how much paper you got, but if you can print up some one-stop truth docs and just hand out the whole damn thing to everybody, you want to see how
right, the
market gets off.
Yeah,
you want to see how fast that. Oh yeah, go in with a smile and go in to educate. You've been given a garden to plant seeds, so farmer, be a good farmer, plant seeds and watch what happens.
Right.
Go for the.
Well, Rory, I just want to say, I want to say to you, everything we've said to you. Once you hang up this phone, kick it out for a while. Just kick it out in your mind, and let Spirit guide you on what to do for Rory's Yellow Brick Road. It could be a piece of everything we said. It could be some. It could be this. It could be that. But it is really up to you. For your success, it's to you. You will know what to do, and give yourself that time to really contemplate that.
Right.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, and what it just. I guess what I want to ask when I'm looking things in my mind, I can play. I'm really not scripting. I don't want to script anything out because I want it to have a. I got to learn from the experience, of course.
Yeah, and you got about a minute to go here, guys. So just letting you know. Let's finish on a high note, Rory. It's all well.
Yeah.
The experience will be perfect regardless of what it is. Lose the fear and just go with getting gear and follow the universe train. It was all things for a reason. You know that. So go find a reason, and I see it as a perfect gift.
Yeah, and
a gamete interfallopian transfer.
Yeah. And fear is just an illusion. It's just somebody's pushing a button to put fear in you whenever you feel that fear. It's just a test, and it's just a test to see if you can stay neutral. So just remember that when you get fear, you just go, it's an illusion. It's just somebody's pushed a button to see if I can stay neutral. And the more you stay neutral, the less fear will come in. And once you are able to stay neutral, you will not have the fear. And that's how you get rid of it. Just press in, walk into it. Don't welcome it. Just say, okay, it's when we resist that it will come and continue. So just welcome it and say, okay, I accept it. I welcome you. Now let's get it straight. And just believe and understand that it is not real. It's just the universe testing you to see, can you stay balanced through this? And when you do, you're going to go up another level. Just believe it's not real, because it's not. That's how you walk this thing out. Just believe it's not real, because it isn't. It's a test. It's just a test.
Right.
Somebody's just directing energy at you to test you, to make sure that you can find the middle ground.
Go.
That's how I have been able to walk. And when I was able to do that, that was the point where fear left me, and fear has no control over me now, none whatsoever. And when you get to that point where you can look at fear in the face and just go, "You don't exist. You're a lie. You're just a frequency." Then that's when you can walk in. That's when you're going to really start laughing. Okay.
Yeah, kind of like when you're on stage and you just you really basically just block everybody else out, and you're just you and you're shining your light off there.
Yeah.
Your little talent.
Yeah, and left brain stuff is that chatter, and that's your ego, that's the fear thing. Just it doesn't exist. Just stay focused, stay focused. Don't let any amount of fear come in. You know, how much time have we got, Kate? Are we almost out? I think we are, but
observer of those things that matter only to me. You see, because I'm the only point of consciousness I can prove. As far as I'm concerned, I'm the only God in existence, and the rest of it is just a movie. Hell of a convincing movie, no less, and I'm sure you'll probably feel the same way. But the truth is, we are all one, experiencing ourselves from completely different viewpoints. It would be a very boring game if we all had the same, piece on the board. If we were all trying to move the same piece around the board, there wouldn't be much interaction, and there certainly wouldn't be a game. You might go around the board once or twice, and that'd be fun, rolling the dice for yourself, and that's all great. But I'll tell you, the minute you have another game player or another game piece on that board, it starts to get a whole lot more interesting, because now you have a game. You have a contrast. You have something that you can sink your teeth into and someone to converse with, another part of yourself. And I'm sure many of you have sat down, as I have, every day. I have wonderful conversations with myself, because that is what we do. That is what we've always done. In the beginning, there was the one. Who the hell else are you going to talk to? So anyone that thinks talking to yourself is crazy is obviously missing the point of creation itself. And it was as a result of us talking to ourselves that this all got created. So, I mean, that can be argued it's a good thing. It can be argued that it's not a good thing, and that's entirely up to you and your perspective. But for me, it's about getting out of the matrix that we've been so deeply embedded within and have been at effect to for so very, very long. I've had enough. And I'm sure many of you have had enough. We need a better game, because, I mean, this whole thing with, the lawyers and the judges and the cops and the governments and the money and all the rest of the shit that goes along with it is beyond boring. Yeah, we get it. Ha, ha, ha. Good joke. That's the best you got? Hell, it only took me 4 decades to figure it out. So there's not much of a game there left, right? Look at how many lifetimes people go through and they never even notice it at all. Look at how many people that are on the planet right now that are traveling through, and based on where their consciousness is, it might have a little trouble, So also on the other side of that is the higher that we vibrate as a dominant frequency, and I'm speaking ethereally, the higher we can resonate at the higher frequencies, we create a void below us. That is the part of the sine wave, if you will. During one of the chats today with Rory and Val, I was trying to explain the sine wave, or the spirit mind, right? Psi N, the spirit my wave. It's my spirit wave, basically. Now, if we were to put that wave and just leave it at the equator, constantly going up and down, what you're going to find is that sine wave is going to end up meeting itself again. So that would be the equivalent of the serpent eating its own tail, ad nauseam. So what we got to do is kind of tilt the game a little bit. So while there is one plane, equatorial plane going around, challenge yourself to go up 1 or 2 degrees from that and start deviating from that line. And then you're going to start to see a spiral sine wave. And that's kind of what I'm writing about in this essay right now. So still working out some of the ways to explain this. But here it is. For all of you that have been in the game for a while, you've noticed that maybe the first fall that you experienced, or the first takedown, or whatever the case may be, the first shitty experience you had, you got up, you brushed yourself off, and you probably noticed in the mirror that you were slightly taller than you were the last time, spiritual mirror. And you had a newer, or at least a reference experience for the next level of the game, right? Because we're traveling in now laterally, and these are all different experiences, and what they do is these are things that can either make us or break us, something to build upon. These are the rocks that we build upon versus the sand that sinks and keeps going down. So if you're vibrating at a constantly higher level, you kind of skew the equatorial line and you start rising up, so that your next low is higher than your last low. Because when we're in a wave action here, and that's what reality is. It's all about waves. So wave, everybody. What happens is the higher you go on a wave, on the positive, we'll put positive on the outside, negative on the inside, just for a description. So the higher you go up on the outside of this positive wave, you are also inversely and in the mirror creating a large negative void below that wave. Now, what is negative? What is positive? Well, allegorically, positive is masculine, negative is feminine. So what you're doing with all the positive intent that you're creating is you're creating a much higher...
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, and good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, coming at you live and in personam. Yeah, that probably works better. Anyway, I'm just waiting for a word from Santo and or Michael McCracken to see if they want to jump in tonight. And other than that, we just carry on, you know. A few things I do want to get into a bit tonight. We touched on it last night, and it's something that I think is, for me, in my experience, it is of the utmost importance, and it is the utmost reason why most of us miss our yellow brick roads. And I think if I can even clarify that further, the more clear I can make it, the easier it is for others to grasp this very magical thing that just I find such a difficult time to find words for. So I will do my best. Worked on the Fifth Element Part 2 today. Didn't get it finished. Had a couple of other calls that came in, and had an opportunity to share some time with others, and which is great for me because regardless of what happens during the course of my now or my day, whatever way you want to put it, all things for a reason. So I simply have to observe why. I don't get caught up in dramas. I don't get caught up in the literals. I just have to be a very, very patient observer to see what I'm going to encounter that are the clues that are only pertinent to me. So let's try to simplify this into a codified manner that the left brain can assimilate and make sense of. When you're dealing inside this game, okay, this is the matrix. So let's clarify a couple of things. I think we've been very clear on what this reality is, and it is the effect. It is physical. It is the created, the past tense. This is the only place where we can play a physical game at this level. So I think it's safe to say, and I mean, you can challenge me on this, but as far as I know, it takes light time to travel from any point to any point, regardless of how small the points are between. There is still time in the linear sense, the illusional time, if you will. As an example, light from the tip of your nose, because anything you observe, you're seeing reflected light. Right? It has to bounce off something to see it, right? So from the tip of your nose to your eye is a very small distance, but it's still a distance nonetheless by the time you look at it and see the reflection of that light that is outlining what you would deem to be your nose in exactly the same way as if you were looking at a star that's, say, 1 million years away. It just took the light a little longer to get to you, that's all. So when the light takes time to travel, it's very, very easy and provable for any of the most lustful left brain ego analytical minds. That's an easy point to prove. Okay, so we got that. I like to actually disprove science with itself. Again, it has to be opposite and equal at the same time. So that's where I hang out. It's way more fun on the other side of this mirror than getting caught up in the drama, the matrix, the mother tricks here. Okay, so we got that one out of the way. So we can now safely say, well, I can safely say, as it's real to me, that everything here is past. You know, in the beginning, God created. Now, whatever the hell concept you have of God is irrelevant to me, okay? You can call it the mind of all. You can call it one. You can call it one consciousness. You can call it Barney Rubble for all I give a shit. It's the concept I'm after. And once we get the concept that there is life, vitality with consciousness, then you can pretty much go from there. And given the fact that every one of you are all individual points of that consciousness, the God mind itself, you're the only one that is real. Because I'll tell you what I can't prove. I can't prove you're real. The illusion shows me that you're real and you talk and everything else. And you have ideas and you're very interesting and all the rest of it. Much in the same way a movie on the silver screen is entertaining and seems very real. You know, you ever catch yourself with Kleenex during a movie and getting all teary-eyed about a scene or laughing your head off at another will give you an idea of how much you're in the movie, right? So you're not any longer an observer. You are an active participant. If you get emotional in anything, you're an active participant, and you are allowing your experience to create an effect on you. So the game here for me is to turn that around. Ka, pa, is, or is, ises, right? Taurus. So when we're talking about capacitance, there's that Ent word again, mind. It's like the word I was talking with Rory and Valerie earlier, the word experience. Well, let's have a look at experience. I'll tell you what experience is. X is life. Okay, X marks the spot. Per, which means by. I, the self, and Ents, the mind. So it is life by my mind. Life by my mind. So it's what you are creating. I explained it a lot better earlier with Val and Rory, but that should give you an idea of how I locate things, and I have not found any better trick than phonics. It's the trick of tricks, purple people. Seriously.
I have a question.
Sure.
Because I know that you have evolved to this place. I want to put this right.
Don't worry. Yes, you can say it any way you want. It's all neutral. I know it comes from you neutral. It's beautiful, so lay it on us. Okay, well, as a human being, you have to have had emotions, or you have those moments, or what do you do in that moment when you know you need to become neutral? Is there a tool that you use, or what do you do? Okay, great question. And this is about how I came into finding neutral. And don't kid yourself, guys. I have my days, okay? I mean, I'm still practicing being, actually, I'm not so much a human being as I'm being human. So for me, let's say a situation, and always remember, I keep in the back of my mind this one thing. The emotions are the things that we need to experience, but we don't need to be controlled by them. It goes like the wife must be subservient to the husband, so the emotions must be subservient to the mind, which means that emotions, for me, is the whole point of being here, to experience these things. But are we getting lost in them? So I choose at that moment, am I going to get lost in this emotion? And there are times that I will just, okay, I've got to go through this. So I go through that emotion to the degree that it releases itself, and I go, cool. You know the old saying, go and have a good cry, or whatever the case may be, and you feel relieved because you've gotten rid of that negative energy. You're basically discharging the garbage, and we have to go through each of these things. And that's why I tell people, when you look back at things in your past, are you looking at them from the perspective of a victim or a vice in time, or as a victor, which means you're getting a grip on the toroidal field, the vice of Taurus, the Taurus, right? So that's what they mean when they say get a grip on reality. Okay, so you can look at it from either perspectives. So I choose to kind of sit in the middle there to see what it feels like. And only you can determine these things. So for me, it's not about letting emotions control me. I can choose, and this is the joy of this, because I can choose any emotion I want, and I can experience it at will and not have it control me because I know what it is. So not only do I get to enjoy the emotion, whether it's positive or negative is irrelevant, I still get to enjoy that emotion, but it doesn't have a grip on me. And how many people do you know that get completely lost in their emotions? They hold these little grudges, they get angry, they get upset, and all these things, and they just hold on to this, and then they spend all their time inside their own heads trying to justify why they need to hold on to this, because it provides what I call a service. You know, oh, well, someone's mad at me, I better go and service them, you know? I better take care of that. I don't give a fuck anymore. You want to play that game, that's fine. I'd rather hang out with happy beings, personally. That's just me. Call me crazy, please.
Yes.
Does that help at all?
I agree. Yeah. That I just want people to get to that. I mean, because you are so neutral, but that it's work in that. I mean, like you said, it's being balanced, and it's being accepting of all emotions, just accepting. You know.
Yeah, neutral doesn't mean that you're numb. You know, you can be numb if you want, but when a lot of times when people talk about being numb, they have literally turned off all emotions and completely afraid to feel anything. It's like when you go out and say just fall in love with someone, you're putting a lot on the line with that, because what happens if they don't reciprocate? Are you willing to experience the effect of being, spurned, if you will? Or are you kind of looking at it from the experience, oh, gee, I wonder what it feels like to really fall in love with someone and get my ass kicked. Wonder what that feels like. And how many of us have done that? Oh, all of us. What goes around comes around. So neutral is not about being numb. Neutral is about being so completely wide open that you can experience anything you choose, where I can observe effects, experience them, but not be at effect to them. I can make sense of it, feels right, looks right, and if I so choose, I can get into any emotion I wish, because at the end of the day, you are fully responsible for any and all emotions. The only thing that will keep you going circular in emotions is how deeply you are in the movie. Ego, the program, it will run you ragged, constantly run you ragged. So, all right. So now that we got that little bit out of the way, let's have a look at what it means to be in a literal world, which we're in, versus the spiritual causal, which is the unseen that you're in. I just want to make you more aware of that side of things. For those of you out there that are experiencing coincidence after coincidence and all of these magical little things showing up along your path, you're already experiencing the yellow brick road to a greater or lesser degree depending on your particular reality. I also understand that within me, the more I come to terms with these things, the more my consciousness without as within, so without, becomes aware of these things as well. And we see evidence of that literally within minutes now, of ideas and thoughts going out, and seeing the evidence of the cause of those thoughts coming back in the form of, oh, isn't that a coincidence? I was just talking about, purple people eaters, and then I checked my Facebook, and someone had actually typed out all the lyrics for that. It's a coincidence, yeah, that's the myriad of. I don't experience coincidence anymore. What I do experience is the observation of what I was missing. And the more coincidences, and I put that in quotes, the more coincidences you experience, the more you are in the now, observing the game from a now viewpoint. Same thing with things like deja vu and what have you. The deja vus and the, I keep seeing 11:11 or 3:33 or whatever on the clock, that's just your way of affirming that you are absolutely right, that you are absolutely correct. And are you going to start paying attention anytime soon, right? So, that being said, where do I want to go from here? Okay, imagine yourself sitting in a movie house, cinema, whatever the hell you want to call it, and you're observing the movie. Now imagine being in the now during that entire movie, which means you will not get emotionally involved, you will not even get analytically involved, because you are in the now, observing the things that are only pertinent to your experience. That's a bit of a head full, okay? So let me back up a little bit. If you are existing in a literal drama, now let's take it just an average day that anyone might have. Well, here, I'll show you in real time what I'm talking about. Imagine going out into a, say, Walmart somewhere and finding the sports goods section, and then going up and trying to strike up a conversation, talking about what we talk about. Do you think you're going to get in response? So that will give you a gauge as to how far you've climbed the ladder. And I think it would also be safe to say that you probably wouldn't last 10, 15 minutes in any normal conversation. Or certainly, go Bruins or go Leafs or go whatever is going to be first and foremost on some of these people's minds, which I would hazard to say is not first and foremost on yours. So these are the bread and circuses of Rome. These are the things that will keep you entrapped within a game of reality, thinking it's real. The way I've described this game in the past is very simple, just like a video game. The instant you start waking, and then you start making it known, is the instant you go on the game grid radar. Up until that point, if you're not making waves against the system, and you're going along with the rest of the dead carrying out the dead, you pay your taxes grumbling, and you go to work, and you do all of the things that, normal meat sticks do on a day-to-day basis, then all of a sudden you wake up and go, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. That's your first indicator, right? Something just isn't feeling right anymore. And then you start looking, and then you start uncovering the typical conspiracies. We've all walked this road. And I'll tell you, the difference between that point at what I'm talking about and where we're at right now is light years. Because while people are still stuck in this literal drama, we'll never see the spiritual side. They will always be at effect. In as much as someone that goes into a court trying to argue statutes and legalese and the rest of this shit, they haven't got a clue as to who and what they are. And they're missing the point of the game. So the game for me is quite simple, and I work diligently every day to be a better higher wave on your ride, your roller coaster, and in return, you are also creating a larger void with which to create in. So as you go back down on the other side of the wave, what you're doing is you're expending that positive potential into that void, and what results on the positive side is what you create. It's going to be a lot easier to explain this in an essay. Trust me on this one, I promise you. But again, higher positive you go with intent, you're creating potential. You're creating all sorts of creative potential. And what happens is with this system, in its wonderful way, it removes as much of that potential as possible by taking that energy, so that the wave that you're building cannot get to a certain point. Unfortunately for system, that illusion is broken. And what the system is witnessing now is its own collapse, because we have created so much positive potential in a negative void that all we can do is rise. At least while I'm in the game, absolutely. That's the only way I see things. So, now if you've got that sine wave, instead of going circular around the Earth, if you can envision it going slightly up, constantly on an incline, that wave, you can leave the wave exactly the same, but your intent is different. Your intent is to climb. So what happens then is, as you expend your potential highs to do the creations and your lows, of course the mirror always has to be, the lower you go, the higher you can climb. And what you're doing is it could be an identical low, but it's slightly higher than the last because you've changed your perspective. You're climbing instead of just staying stagnant on the status quo line called the equator. That might sound a little bit complicated, but it's really quite easy. It's a lot easier to show in a drawing, so I should probably start doing videos. But anyway, that's just me. Well, let's bring some people in here, because let me just see if Santo or Mike have made it to the call. Nope, not seeing either. No worries. All right. Just checking through the chats here, guys, and then I'll get 323 open up. Okay, yeah, we're live. We're on the air. Okay. Good one, Joseph. All right. Area code 323 and area code 773. I wonder where you went. You dropped off and you're back. So jump in, guys. What's on your minds tonight?
Well, I guess I can start. I just listening to what you're saying.
Hi, Tanda. How are you? I thought that was you. I wasn't sure.
Yes, I'm well. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Reality indeed. I'm doing well.
Hello.
I trust all is well with you, because it is.
It is. Absolutely. I guess I listening to what you were saying, one thing about saying how it is in your world and being God over your universe, your reality, your movie, or I guess however one would want to label that. You're really saying to other people, too, that you have to find your godness, your reality, your movie, the way it's going to work for you, and you will learn to play that out. So it's really about getting in your own lane and realizing what your job is. I mean, when you talk about being a chess player, and being where is your place on the board? Where do you fit on that board? And the potential, when I heard you talk about potential and the wave and the high and the low, really that's about your emotions and how you're able to deal, because you talked about being neutral through everything. So it's like it's an acceptance. So almost in that low, being accepting so that you can rise, because even when those things happen, you learn from them or you see them for what they are, and you can really begin to sidestep them. And the more in tune you become, you can avoid them totally. They don't even affect you anymore.
The easiest way to describe it is probably the most graphic way. This place, you're absolutely right. This place is all about getting you to lose your potential energy by, creating emotions and all the rest of it. We can call it, let's say you're building your potential up to do something, then something emotional hits you, and you have a premature ejaculation of that energy, and it drains into the negative creation. And I mean that quite literally. So it really is that simple. Can you hold the charge to release it when you intend, versus having someone or something come into your lane and derail you? And only when you get neutral can you maintain that charge, that positive charge, until you decide, okay, I'm ready for this one, and then you let it go and you put that intent and power into it. See, what we don't have the chance to do is build up like the capacitors we are.